Yo, yo, yo. Happy NFL draft week. How we doing?
We made it. We made it. It's been a long wait. We finally have we're on the cusp of some meaningful NFL news, right? I mean, you don't have to read the tea leaves of, Antonio Brown or AJ Brown, not Antonio Brown. Off to a hot start. Not Antonio Brown. AJ Brown is wearing a Patriots jersey or whatever. We're actually going to get landing spots. We're actually going to be able to make some educated guesses about what we should be looking for in some of these offenses.
I know all the months leading up to all this prospect fatigue of analyzing and just reports of where players are going to go in drafts, actually getting real life draft capital. And rookie drafts, do most of your rookie drafts start immediately following the NFL draft?
I have a batch that's the week after or so. And then I have another batch that's just more sporadic, a month out or something. Which I kind of like. I like having both of them. What's up, Sean?
What's up, Sean?
Welcome back. He's always here. He's a legend.
Again, I know too. What's up, Sean? Most of mine are actually a lot of them end up being the Monday after. You get a nice weekend, I think, for people to kind of digest everything, and then helps the Monday be a little less Monday feeling when you've got a rookie draft going on. So
and you got all the podcasts and reactions to listen to, so
what's your NFL draft experience? I'm gonna guess that you're like me, so I'll give you my setup, and I want to know if I'm right. I am at my computer. I mean, a dual monitor guy. I'm watching the draft, and I probably got some sort of content or something I'm listening to, and I like to track all the picks and stuff on my own and kind of make my rankings based off of that. Ooh, posted a trade in the Discord. Let's go. Are you similar? Or are you more of a chill draft enjoyer?
I try to chill. I try to take it up because I know part of my quote unquote job is to overanalyze and over talk about it all. So I'm I just want to sit back, have at least a fan experience for the first round, because that's the fun round. I mean, when it's third round, I'm okay, what does this mean for landing spots? But I'm not the first round's taking the spectacle, enjoy that we're actually going to have some new news. And two, last year I kind of dreaded it. It was not my favorite. This year, Panthers have a first round pick, so I can start cheering, start having some of my fandom there. But I will say, do you have any spicy draft takes? I was looking at some of the over unders. It was 2.5 is the running backs in the first round. What you thinking about that?
I think I'm pretty boring, I think, when it comes to the fantasy perspective on the actual NFL draft. So I'm probably going under and I think it has to do with the running back class. I feel like everyone's talked about how deep the running back class is. And I know there's not a lot of blue chip players. Also, what up, Ty? Sean and Ty, appreciate you guys popping in.
Ty's here.
Shout out to Ty DeClaire. I mean, all the DD guys, the trade shows. Love those. Definitely check those out. Under for me on RBs. I'm with you, Sean. I just feel I know there's been a lot of buzz with Hampton and Genty. Of course, I think those kind of feel like the two. And not even that, I think. I mean, there's a lot of the next tier of running backs that I do like Travion Henderson. But for me, I just feel the class itself kind of lends to maybe we talk about the blue chip prospects in the class, and it does feel there's a pretty far fall off for most teams. I feel the general consensus for teams is teams are wanting to trade back, but not many teams are open to. I think this is, I don't even know what it is. I've heard this and I need to memorize this so I can say it on a live show and not sound stupid. But no pre-draft first round pick trades. I think it's the first time it's happened in a long time, Joe Montana year or something. I don't know why that. It's something. Somebody look it up for me. Type it into ChatGPT or something. But yeah, I think for me, I think I'm going under on the running backs. I think I want to give you a spicy one since I give you a boring answer on the running backs. But I think my spicy stuff is more rookie draft based. So I think Travis Hunter goes to the Browns. I don't think, unless we're talking a weird scoring format, I don't think Will is in a rookie draft at the 105 where I'm not going Travis Hunter, or he's not going off the board there. I think I'm at the 105, with Travis Hunter.
I know you're a big truther on Travis Hunter here.
I am.
You might be the next gen Breece Hall.
Oh gosh, I don't want this to be my legacy. I'm too young in the dynasty content space for Breece Hall to be my legacy.
I will say it'll be interesting. I'm very interested to see the Matthew Golden hype. I feel like he's someone that's really been hyped up. Where it's like I even see him, getting close to Tet, potentially being the first true wide receiver off the board, which I feel like that would be spicy. But also it's kind of like one of those things where it's like I think the over under for wide receivers in the first round is 2.5, which again would be way lower than what we're used to seeing. I think it'll be over that. I think we'll probably get around 4, just because some teams need wide receivers, and there's a lot of those late first round type of guys. But it'll be interesting to see. There's been a lot of people poo-pooing on this class, and it'll be cool to see teams actually have to put a stake in the ground and say, this is our player, this is where we're going.
Yeah, appreciate it, Sean. Thank you for doing the research. I always knew Sean would come through on that. I appreciate it. All right, 420 RZA. Thinking about Judkins at 5 in a dynasty rookie draft. So I want to know. So I'm gonna give you an answer here, but I want to know: is this a pre-NFL draft rookie draft that's happening right now or tomorrow? It's getting done, and you're not gonna know landing spots or anything. Because for me, I think Judkins at 5 feels like a reach just in terms of projected draft capital. Now, could Judkins be a early second round pick to a good landing spot? And yes, it makes sense to take him at 5. That's possible, but I don't think I'd be. Post draft starts right after real draft. Okay.
Right after.
I wouldn't lock yourself. I mean, if you love Judkins and he gets a good landing spot or whatever, he's one of those early second guys that's like, oh my gosh, great spot here, Chiefs somehow or whatever. But I think outside of that, I think I would lean a little bit more into the actual NFL draft capital. If you're starting to take him over a first round running back, definitely not. Even first round receivers, it gets tough. Depending on the spots.
I think what I would do is I'd pencil in, I don't think at the 5, it would be bad to take the RB3 in the class, depending on your format. I mean, I assume the tight end premium isn't enough to where it's I need to take Tyler Warren or someone like that. So it's probably going to be a Henderson or Judkins or whoever, if there's a good range of kind of early second-ish or something like that running backs. Yeah, I'm definitely... I think RB3 at that spot's good. If you're just a big Judkins guy, you could probably trade back if you're lucky. You might not be able to, like NFL teams, but trade back a few spots and still get Judkins if you're a big fan of him.
Is this okay? This is crazy. This is crazy context. That the background is you won the league in our contender, and you have the 101 and the 105. Trying to lock down 2 good halfbacks. Was thinking Genty and Judkins. I mean,
how did that happen?
I mean, if you were a contender, I don't even think I would pencil yourself into needing to draft 2 running back. I mean, obviously, let me know if the format dictates itself, you have to start 3 running backs or something. But if you're already getting Genty, I mean, I would be totally open to either moving that pick to the future if you're already a contender. There's a lot you can do with that versus locking yourself into needing to take whatever the best running back is available, especially if you're already competing with your roster. Traded Jacobs, Mike Evans, and 12. Wow. Wait, for the 101? Josh Jacobs, Mike Evans?
It's a shallow league. I wonder how... It's a 12-man. I don't know how deep it is.
I'm curious if this is a taco league. And Hollywood. Interesting. And Hollywood Brown. Yeah, that interesting. All right, Breece, let us know if there's some interesting context there. Because I think you would... I think trading to the future, if you already have a contending roster, turn that into a future first plus something at the 105. Because I think, especially post NFL draft, that those mid first round picks where it's interesting prospect, good landing spot first round, people are going to want to trade for those picks. Breece or the 106 in a start 3 RB league. Man, I don't even need this context. It's a PPC too, right? You know it. PPC. Receiving first down.
I'm still a Breece believer. To me, I'll get on the Breece train with you.
Thank you.
It's hard to. I think if it was a Hampton or a Ginty, obviously I think I'd just take the youth, in the commitment. But I don't want to take, even with, I'm thinking there's going to be Henderson or Judkins or whoever is going to be around the 106. You're probably looking at a second, third, fourth round running back type of guy. I don't really want to be like, this is the second or third round running back that I know is going to hit. A first round running back, I'm like, sure, lock it in. But for me here, you're just locking yourself into still like someone that is, I think, like RB6 or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I
still
think
has a lot of trade value.
Yeah, I don't need to do the whole Breece spiel that happens every Dynasty Daddy trade show live stream. But for me, I think in Dynasty, a lot of times we tie ourselves to expectations that we have for a player. And when they don't like hit those out of the gate in the first year or two, or something, injury related or playing for the New York Football Jets situation related, they do not perform to those standards. We are like, oh, get out, get me out of this guy. So being a Breece believer isn't necessarily even this guy's going to be a top 3 Dynasty running back. So yeah, with all that being said, I'll stop myself from talking more about Breece Hall.
No, I mean, I agree. I think also 3 RB league, RBs are super valuable.
Yeah.
You're just saying, hey, I'm going to get probably a top 10 RB at the 106, which you're probably not going to get unless you get really lucky.
Mm-hmm.
Like even with this class being loaded, it's still, you're probably, especially with 3 RB, it might be more like RB, and you might be stuck with like, oh, do I take Matthew Golden, Travis Hunter, and Cam Ward or something like that? So,
yeah, okay, so the Taco League, and this is kind of, I'm kind of exposing myself a little bit because I have not watched this entire show, but there's an old show called The League, and it is like a show, well, probably one of the only shows that I can remember that was literally just solely about fantasy football. And Taco was like the idiot of the league. And so like when you talk about like this guy's like it was like a taco player, this guy's a taco commissioner or whatever. Best freaking show ever. Yeah, it's definitely one of those shows that is probably not funny, but for people who are like into fantasy football and can like relate to, and it's like really dramatic and stupid humor and fantasy football related. So there are parts that are
definitely over
funny.
the top, yeah. but it's a good show, and it's crazy to see like what some of those people have done too with their careers. Oh, that person's like famous. I'm like, I remember that person from the league.
Yeah, there's
so it's funny to see them pop up in other forms of media.
Very crude humor. Yeah, I don't remember a ton from it. So if you're watching it and you're like, oh gosh, that's an interesting recommendation. But I think it's worth watching some clips at the very least.
I remember like the Super Bowl shuffle, but instead of the Bears, it was like his fantasy roster.
Oh yeah,
I remember that part.
I remember there was I think he was like a lawyer or something, and they like settled some sort of plea deal based off of him getting like Adrian Peterson for like some pick or something. Eskimo Brothers.
That's how hard you have to go to get trades done in redraft.
Right. Yeah.
Redraft
this is not
league,
Dynasty,
Yeah, it's like it's just player for player, so you got to have some blackmail on people.
I traded for the 5 picks, so the 105 like 2 years ago. And second and end for his future first. Oh, to get that. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is
I will say this is kind of like you have too much money in the bank account type of thing. Like you already won, so you're kind of like, what do I want? I want to have like the shiny new toy type of deal. Like you already won. You traded away 2 of your old guys in the 112. You picked up the 101. Like you're going to draft Gene T. I don't know what the rest of your roster looks like, but I assume if you did just win, you probably have other players on top of Jacobs and Evans that you're still going to be relevant. So if you're a big Judkins guy or someone like that, yeah, I mean, you could certainly reach. I do think it'd be a little bit of a reach unless if like Judkins hops a Henderson or someone like that.
And two, I think the best thing about having these like crazy good, and we talk about this a little bit, when you have contending rosters that I assume are just like packed full of value. I mean, it sounds like you're making the deals that are letting you do that by, getting the 105, getting the 101. That's why I kind of like kicking some of these in the future, especially if you can't consolidate this value into like the Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chases of the world for your roster. Like if you're not able to do that with that extra value, kicking it to the future versus having to call your shots, because I think that's how you deplete the value of these super high value contending teams, is when you do make these rookie bets when you don't need to, right? Like yes, you could kind of stake your claim. I like Judkins, and you might even be right. And I'm not even saying that he was not going to be worth a pick at the mid first. But I think when you don't have to make those bets and you can kind of kick your value to the future and then kind of pick your spots when it makes sense for you to kind of cash in on that value, I think that's a way better way to manage those high value contending teams versus having to, call those shots and make those picks. Unless, like, for me, that's like the perfect time to like take a shot on Travis Hunter. But hey, I'm not going to spread the glorious message of
We'll
105
say,
Travis
don't
Hunter.
take Judkins. Yeah, take Travis Hunter.
Yeah,
but
I wouldn't even do the value spiel.
It's definitely towards the range of where it's like no one really knows who the 5th best player is. Yeah, like we kind of have like, okay, like Cam Ward, if he's 1-on-1, you kind of have to take him. 2 first-round running backs, you kind of have to take him. If Tech gets like top 12 draft capital, you kind of have to take him. Once you get to this range, you're kind of like, okay, do you take a Travis Hunter? Do you take the RB3? Do you go for Sanders, which I know a lot of people have been, crapping on Sanders recently, so don't know how that's going to play out. But there's a lot that could go into it, and I feel like that's kind of, I feel like the first tier break is obviously the 101, and me personally, there's a tier break at the 101, the 102, and then like the 3 and 4 is probably Ward and Tet. And then like after that, it kind of just opens up to like what the hell happens? Is it Matthew Golden going at 15, or is it something like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know so the Travis playing at corner primarily. I definitely take him at wide receiver. He's playing that majority. I think just so much of the buzz that we've heard from the Browns specifically, and I think they've been one of the more open teams about kind of communicating that he is a wide receiver who will play corner, is like really kind of fueling my fire to be confident in drafting him closer to that mid-first range than kind of the late first that he originally was at, when there was a little bit more of, I don't know exactly where he's going to go. But I mean, once again, there could be movement too. Like it sounds, we're starting to get the reports, which, these reports will always come out about teams the phones are open, for teams to trade up or for teams to trade back to the 102, 103 in the actual NFL draft. So, there's a chance that happens. But I think regardless, Travis Hunter will be playing wide receiver in the National Football League to some capacity. And I think that even could grow. Like even, we're playing in dynasty leagues, right? Even though they kind of tend to feel like redrafts year over year, with some off-season rookie drafts in the middle. But still, I think I think the upside is worth it at that mid-first.
I just get scared. I still feel like
coward.
I do think when he does play, even if he plays cornerback, he'll have a significant role when he's on the field. But again, it's like, how much is he going to play? So from a fantasy perspective, to me, if I do have the 105, I'm probably looking for more of a locked in guy. Like if Golden gets really good capital, or someone like a Henderson or Judkins, or just be like, lock me into a position I know is going to actually play, versus like, okay, like I hope he gets the good usage. I hope his team, like, you never know how it's going to play out. No, he's going to score touchdowns on offense, but it's also something where it's like kind of need dependent, like if does a cornerback get injured and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, like now you're going to play more cornerback. So it's something it's kind of hard to bet on.
I hear you. I do. I'm going to the
okay.
I'm gonna pull up the so real quick, Sean, I am creating a beautiful looking overlay with the questions you've asked in the Discord all together here. We're doing it live. In the meantime, I'm going to make fun of Jeremy real quick for the Travis Hunter fear, and then we're going to move on to one more question, and then we'll get to that's the itinerary. That's what we've got set for the next 4 minutes of the Dynasty Daddy live stream. But no, I hear what you're saying. I get the fear, and I think for me, I think what makes me a little bit more confident is I'm not even a Tet hater or a Matthew Golden hater, but I think there's a lot of question marks to a lot of the current wide receiver profiles. And I know we've heard some dips about, maybe Tet falling down the board, and, maybe he goes closer to 20 than 10. That kind of felt like, a month or so ago. So for me, I think that helps even more me feel the upside. And I know I think I did this spiel 2.5 weeks ago, where if Travis Hunter is playing, 30% of snaps at wide receiver and doing Travis Hunter things, and he does that for the whole season, and the Browns or whatever team drafts him, they go, they have a 4-win season, people are losing their jobs. So that's all I'll say on that front. But we're gonna pull up this one. What up, Nathan? Jeremy, I'm gonna let you take this one while I hit the Photoshop 12-team start 11. Just traded.
Yeah,
Give
Nathan's...
the 106, 26 mid first, 26 late first to get Drake May. 12-team start 11.
Whole team start 11. Ooh. Okay, I will preface this that I did go to NC State, so there's a bit of a bias. I do feel like in a 12-team start 11, that is a steep price to pay for a Drake May, because in a start 11, you're probably getting 3-ish starters out of that. So I mean, to me, it kind of depends on your team. Like, is your team loaded to the extent of I have a ton of value, I just kind of want to get this player, and that's also like the league market, right? Can I even get a quarterback anywhere? That's not just like Matthew Stafford. And, so it's something like would I have personally done that? I probably wouldn't have, just because like that's 2 first-round picks next year, a first-round pick this year in a deeper format. But it also could, you could sway me the other way if it kind of fits your roster a little bit more.
So no, additional context for what it's worth, I have a ton of draft capital. Only other QB is Caleb. It's 12-team start 11.
Okay, I mean, I think I will say if you have a ton of draft capital, it makes it more palatable. Because to me, it always hurts to trade future first. That's something that to me, it is like driving a car without insurance. It's like I hope I don't get in a car crash. So giving up 2 future firsts is really hard, in my opinion. But if you're like, oh, I have 4 26 first, I have 3 27 first. Yeah, I mean, you got to eventually cash in somewhere. And judging by one's a late, one's a mid, you're probably not giving up super high end picks anyway. You agree with what I said, Will? Or
I agree. I was listening.
Travis Hunter.
No, I was listening and I agree. How are you guys feeling about Hunter? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Nathan said he kept his own first for next year as well. So I don't think it's that bad. If you have a first next year, sometimes you got to go pay up for the guys you want. If Drake May is the guy you want, I don't fault you for that.
All right, we've got here we go. This is in the live stream ask channel in the Discord. Link in the description for the Dynasty Daddy Discord. Definitely check that out. So this is from Sean here. This is a 12 by 10 Superflex PPR 0.15. So wait, 0.15. This is PPC. Should be PPC, I believe.
PPC, yeah.
PPC, and then 0.5 tight end premium. So the trade is the 108 and the 211 and Coker for Waddle and Chuba. And so I'll put up the team here that was shared, and also an additional context note. So let's see. Are
you getting creative up in here?
We're cooking something here. Don't worry. We can see enough here, right?
Well,
yeah.
While you're cooking, I will say my initial impression of this trade is I'm a big fan of getting value for picks like a 211 and a Coker, right? You essentially what you're doing is you're taking one high end piece, splitting it into 2 probably decently high end pieces. Like I doubt the 108 is going to perform, better than Chuba or someone. Yeah, like I think that's about what you would expect.
It kind of feels like you're making a 108 versus. I mean, so 211. I'm not even talking about 211 and Coker for Chuba. Like I'm not even talking about crossing that thing out. But I feel like you could say the receiver you would take at the late first is a similar bet to what you're hoping Waddle gives you in terms of expectations, upside. I mean, say what you want about Waddle, but like from a prospect perspective, and I think what we've even seen at times in the NFL, you would be happy with getting that out of a rookie receiver in the late first.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be looking at like a Luther Burden range anyway, and it's like, okay, like you hope you hit on that prospect, and sure, the ceiling's higher, right? The ceiling is higher on the 108. That's why you got a good deal. But I mean, Chuba was like a high end RB2 last year. And you get Waddle, who's like, okay, cool, like it's Waddle, but he's still someone that you can plug in, especially in a point per carry. I would definitely do that deal. That's a perfect, like, let me have a nice piece that has some upside, and I stick together some other things that make the trade calculator happy, and then I just ship it off and say, cool. Like, I walk away with 2 locked in starters. I don't have to, ever wake up on your Thursday night before the game and be like, oh no, like I need to find some sort of starter on the waiver wire, because you do have 2 guys that if Waddle starting, if Chuba starting, you feel good about.
Now, I looking at this team, does this team change any of that for you? So you have the 102 and the 104. So I'm going to give you the additional context note up here, and then we'll take a look at the team. So the overall context: difficult to get deals in this league. Tanked last year, ready to contend now. So has the 102 from tanking. Any tips on moving this league would be awesome. Mostly DD guys or former DD guys in this league. So Drake May, Michael Penix. Yeah, relatively sharp. I like the QB room. You've got Bijan and then a bunch of backups, but has the 102 in terms of kind of filling that role for this year, hopefully with, Hampton, good landing spot. You got CD, Marv, Ladd, T. Higgins. So this is kind of interesting well, I guess, so, okay. So you are starting Marvin Mims based off of the current roster.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean,
so I get kind of doing like the Waddle deal.
Poker. Yeah, right. I mean, I think this, it makes me like the deal even more, because to me, I'm like, I look at this roster, I don't really care about tight end, even in the 0.5 tight end premium,
right?
Like Sanders, whatever, that's fine. Really, your depth at running back is a big concern here, because all you got is Algier as your RB2, and frankly, like, I love to just slot it. I need to have like kind of like a war chest of just players that might hit somewhere. So the fact that I walk in, I can plug in Chuba. He's not going to get disrupted in this year's draft. And I upgrade the Mims, Coker, Butte type of roulette wheel by being able to cash out some of that value into a Waddle. I think that's a perfect deal for you. And then you can just say, hey, the 102, that gives you the flexibility. If you're not a big Hampton guy, which I think you should take Hampton there, but if you're not, it gives you the flexibility to trade it or do something else with it. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a perfect type of deal where you don't really have those locked-in starters, and now you address both running back and wide receiver, and all you give up is a late first. You still have 2 early to mid first-round picks this year, and you have a bunch of later-round picks to kind of round out your bottom-of-the-barrel running back room.
Mm-hmm. And I'd be curious. You know what's such a funny thought and concept I had? So kind of getting the perspective of it being a somewhat sharper league, it is probably even harder to trade for the old crustier running backs, because teams are probably constructed in a way where they're just making the bet on like the James Conner or the Aaron Jones or whatever to be either, hey, this guy's just my starter. Like you're going to have to pay for the production you're going to get. And you would think it'd be the other way around. You'd think sharper leagues, they want to get off all the old running backs. They don't want to have these old guys on their dynasty teams. And I feel like the teams are probably constructed better in a way where it's harder to kind of pry those guys off with picks. Because I'd be curious. I mean, this would be an interesting team too. It obviously depending on what you want to do with the 102, things change if you end up going Hampton, or 104 you're even taking a running back, or maybe you're just hitting running backs in the second with the 202, or maybe one at the 108. But I'd be curious if the draft doesn't fall that way, or you want to lean different ways or move picks around, what old crusty running back you could get behind Bijan with some of those late second, early thirds.
Yeah, that's the hard part. I mean, the thing is, even in a sharp league, people are going to be like having different directions for their teams.
Yeah.
Right. So like, to me, it's always going to be about too, like, just being like, hey man, here's a trade. Your team stinks. You have Aaron Jones. I'm giving you 0 effort trade just to make this happen, because you don't want to have to compete against the 11 other team or the 10 other teams that if he goes shops it all around. But you could just be like, hey, I'm just taking it off your hands. You might be able to get 10% more if you nickel and dime everyone in the league, but like, be proactive, attack those lower teams. You might be able to pick up a cheap starter. And it doesn't even need to really be a massive starter with a it's assuming you with the 102, 104, you get some sort of running back, and now you have Chuba. I mean, you got a 3-headed monster there to where it's like I'm not even that aggressive in terms of like, oh, I need to go pick up a Ramondre Stevenson or someone like that. Like to me, I'm like, hey, I feel pretty solid. I have 3 locked in starters. I don't have like a fringe starter or anything, and you can kind of move in from there. I think too, you could also look at taking like the 104 and stacking it to like a, I don't know, like a lad or a T. I know you said it's hard to make a trade, but see if any of those like true elite guys are available with some sort of like big push in. Because now you have the flexibility of I have a T, I have a Waddle, I have, a high end pick that I don't necessarily need to answer running back. So you have some, because like once you make that pick and it's like, oh, it's Tet, you're like, oh crap, now I have Tet, Waddle, T. You kind of juggling a bunch of these wide receivers. If that's kind of the direction you want to go, I'd potentially look at, is someone out there that has like a shining star, one of the Mount Rushmore dynasty wide receivers right now, that is open to making some sort of deal.
Yeah, and
it's hard to resist those picks. It's hard to resist those picks.
And this is, I mean, this kind of team I'm looking at right now, this is the kind of team you could do that with. Now you can't obviously do that too many times, but you have the flexibility with having 2 firsts in 26 on top of having this 102, 104, 108 early second. You have the flexibility and the roster already with 4 receivers you're fine starting to make that kind of deal, especially with not carrying.
He has Marv.
Yeah, start with
Marv 104.
No, I
name someone that's more overpriced than Marv right now.
Dang! Oh man, I'm I don't know. I feel like, guys, any Marv believers in the chat? I don't even think you're a Marv hater. I just think I do think that there was a what if I'm getting CD Lamb but younger that people were kind of feeling at rookie drafts last year. That is not the case.
I mean that's why there was a big gap between him and Neighbors, and it's like, wait a minute, they went like 3 picks apart in the draft. Like to me, it's the name. People are very excited. To me, I think he's like Rome Odunze value, right? Rome Odunze value. That's where I would put him. Like he was okay, but he wasn't amazing.
Yeah.
But people just see Marvin Harrison, and they're gonna ride that for a while. It's gonna be like Justin Fields. It's gonna be up and down, up and down. Like there's gonna be a lot of opportunity to sell, and get a good amount of value out of it.
I do think they're yeah, and maybe I am just among the sheep that are being led to the slaughter. But I do think there are a couple things you could point to as far as the way Arizona was utilizing Marv that you saw at points where he, the whole sacrificial X stuff that we were seeing a lot of times last year, on top of a couple of those kind of like end zone fade balls that were just a little bit off on Kyler, some disconnect there. I could easily see, obviously those touchdown numbers increasing and kind of inflating the production a little bit. Cardinals office working through growing pains, young OC, lots of change past couple of years. And you got Trey McBeast back there taking over all the receiving production. What are you going to do?
There. He's definitely the alpha.
Didn't even have a bad rookie season. Wasn't as expected. Expectations. Yeah, this is totally true as well. But I think the thing is, too, I think what Jeremy, and I don't want to speak for you. Don't let me speak for you. But I think from a dynasty perspective, a lot of times you do have to kind of make these bets and kind of call these shots pretty quickly in terms of how you're valuing players. Because if there are people who do believe Marv has the chance to step into the, Brian Thomas Jr., Nico Collins, like that stage of dynasty value, I think you do want to make that move out. But if you think that he can step into that, you then can buy. And that's kind of the game that you play with dynasty, is kind of calling those shots and making those bets because of the huge value bump you can have for your team.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he's going to be a bust or anything, but I do think Marv plus the 104 gets you into almost any conversation you want. And being like, hey, you want Waddle in the 104? You're not going to be able to have as much, much leverage to get into those deals. And at the end of the day, like, there is a world where Waddle and Marv produce pretty similarly on a points per game output. So like that's why to me I'm like especially when I look at this roster, it's like Ladd, it's C, it's it's a bunch of those like highly valued guys that put up wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 1 type seasons. It's like I don't know if I want to hope that all of them hit. Like at a certain point, I'm like, okay, maybe I'll try to leverage all these picks, all this rebuilding I've been doing to really just get a guy that's going to lock me into guaranteed wide receiver 1 production and be kind of like a long-term insulated piece. I mean, that's why like even CD Lamb, like, CD Lamb's like one of those players. And, you can certainly buy some of those guys now because once they start scoring 20, 25 points and 40-point weeks and things like that, like no one's going to be like, oh, like, Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to come around. Like, just wait. So that's why to me I'm like people can talk themselves into those things more. I mean, it's like Anthony Richardson last year where people are like, I think he had like three games that got injured and they're like, yes, but his points per play was the highest ever, and that's why he should be like a top 6 quarterback. And it's like this, and he's like 22 or whatever. Like people can just tell them this narrative and hype him up a lot. I still think Marv has a great chance to succeed, but I also don't think he should be valued more than like a Ladd or up there with like a Nico Collins type players right now.
Yeah. What James, I'm going to say 2 sentences right now, and then we will tackle this because I threw this up on the screen and I pump faked you out like I was Jalen Brunson against the Pistons, just jerking my head back every time trying to draw a foul. But we will get to this. The last thing I want to say on Marv was the man, what is the buzz if the Arizona Cardinals draft one of these receivers that people are interested in? Like one of these kind of top 4 or 5. I don't think it is I don't think it would ever be like this guy is taking Marv's lunch or anything in terms of he's going to take over. I think it would definitely be more of a knock on that receiver that gets that landing spot versus Trey McBride or Marvin Harrison, but it definitely would not be a boost for Marv's value in the streets.
Yeah, I mean, I think his value would go down a little, but I think, like you said, it would be kind of like a Rome Dunze or JSN, where it's like, oh crap, like he's behind, DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. Like there's only so much that player can do.
But they're 25 and 24 instead of 30.
Well, yeah, that's true.
But yeah,
and you got Marvin and McBride. There's only so much that ball can go to. I mean,
and Kyler's going to run more this year. I pulled up the sleeper profile.
I hope so.
I saw that.
I hope so.
Me too. My dynasty
all those
bags are
Kyler
open,
shares.
So. Yeah.
I'm always like body Kyler.
I have a terrible team. What up, James? Should I trade away the 101 Ashton Genty for 3 first-round picks, the 107, a 2026 first, and a 2027 first? Those last 2 firsts are from a team where it might be early? ? All right, so I do love having the realization to know when taking a running back. It was kind of same thing with the Bijan dilemma, where it was like, yes, you can add this young smash running back to your team, but all you're doing is making your tank next year worse because this running back is going to be scoring a ton of points for your team that isn't going to be doing anything. So do not hate the mindset here at all. I definitely would say, even before we tackle this question, I am not a big, let me just put this player on the trade block type of person, but letting it be known that the 101 is for sale, like these like high value assets. So I highly recommend this whenever you guys are like talking through deals of like trading away Justin Jefferson or tearing down from these like elite assets, letting it be known, because everybody wants the 101 in your league. So when it becomes sort of a bidding war, that's what you want for these high value assets. Now, when you're trying to trade away like Tony Pollard or something, you're not getting a bidding war for Tony Pollard. So I love doing it for high end assets like the 101. So I definitely would let it be known that you're willing to move off of it for future draft capital and everything. But with that being said, what are your thoughts on the 107, a 26 first, and a 27 first for Genty?
I'm conflicted, I will say. I think this is good value, but I'm also like, and I think too, like when you're looking at this and you're coming through dynastydaddy.com, looking at all your rosters, but when you're looking at your team and their team, like I doubt if this team, I doubt if you think this team is going to be early. They're probably not an Ashton GT away. So to me, if this league is a start 9 or smaller, I'm definitely just going to hold on to the 1-1, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Just because GT is going to be a difference maker. If you get to 10, 11, 12, that's when just getting all these picks means more. But it's also one of those things where it's man, do I really want to wait for all of that? I think if my team's terrible, I'm probably just going to take my medicine and know that in 2026, 2027, when GT is RB3 and crushing it, I still feel okay because I'm I have all these other picks that can, if I hit on one player, if I hit on 2 players, I can trade it. It gives me so much more flexibility. And on a bad team, to me, it's always value, right? Every trade I make, I need to be making the value play that fits my window. And this is one of those, I'd certainly look and see if you can get more, but I mean, honestly, I think this is probably the best you're going to get.
Yeah, and I would also, I think I am not a believer that unless you can tell that the team is absolutely decimated asset-wise on counting 27 firsts where they're going to land. So I would just be a little bit cautious with that. I think 2026, I see myself being a little bit more confident in seeing where picks land based off of teams, but so much can change in a year, especially if they have picks or other assets that they can kind of move around and maneuver. Like when a team doesn't
have... GT.
Yeah, when they got GT and when they know they don't have a future first, I mean, unless this is a team that is not going to be making moves that a team that doesn't have their future firsts should be making. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I don't think it's terrible value, but
it's one of those things. I remember, and I'll give you a story of hope, I guess.
Okay.
Is I remember I had a league that was a deeper league, and I was like, this team never gets it done, right? I'm always 6th. Everyone's getting older, so I traded 80 cents on the dollar on the lot. I was like, I need to get out now before they become 31 and no one wants them. And I was like, this sucks because I traded away Tyreek Hill. I traded away all these players and they start popping off. But then, next year comes around to have a bunch of picks. They turn out to be late picks. But then, I get lucky. The draft class is good. I draft Xavier Worthy and Lyle McConkey and Brian Thomas Jr. And now I'm like, oh, cool. I would have done that trade, every day of the week. And that's something where here it's cool. You have GT, but you have the Lambo in the trailer park. There's only so much you can do there. And you can maybe tier down. If I got GT on a bad team, you'd be like, okay, I'm probably going to try to tier down to can I get Breece in the first or something? Can I tier down to a certain player and pick up a first back? To me, this just kind of does all the work for me. So I'd probably take all the picks at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. And this context note about having Elijah Moore and Jameis Winston in their lineup. Yeah, especially when
Elijah Moore and Jameis Winston.
Yeah. Maybe I take back what I said about calling out that.
That was the Cleveland stack last year.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and hey, maybe Jameis wins the starting job, and the Giants don't draft a quarterback. Actually, it'd probably be more Russ losing the starting job than Jameis winning it. That's probably the actual route. Thanks for the advice.
I feel like Jameis will be the starter, and then things will go haywire, and they're like, okay, let's just get crazy with it. We need neighbors to put up some crazy numbers. I appreciate it, James.
And I do want to, appreciate it. I do want to go back to, there's some more Marv notes. CD's rookie season was 50 more yards, 3 less touchdowns than Marv. I did do some fact checking because I did know the additional context to this note being. And one, I agree that Marv's rookie season was not a terrible rookie season, but CD was in a Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup receiving room with, I believe he only played 14 games that season, and also half, I believe, was Andy Dalton under center. So just a little bit of additional context there, but this is not even a gotcha, facts over feelings response. I actually agree that Marv's rookie season was not terrible. So don't hate that.
I mean, I think too, CD Lamb's a good example of you could have sold him. You could also buy him back at certain times as well. Before he kind of like it took until last year for him to reach the true, like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson type value. And even now you see he's like not even close. So like to me, it's something where it's like, I just think when you have a very valuable asset and it's not producing very valuable like production when you're actually starting them, it's something where it's like, okay, like maybe I should tear off of them. Maybe I should ride with them. And I was just saying is like, that would get you into the door of like serious, serious guys. You could, yeah. If you don't want to do that, like you could definitely find someone that would say, "Hey, T. Higgins in the 104." Like that's certainly a deal that you could make as well. You just wouldn't be getting to the point where like you might be able to have a conversation about Justin Jefferson or someone crazy up there.
All right, what's the best way to buy Marv? And I guess the first question would be, in what league would you be more interested in buying Marv? Is it in maybe a more shallow league where he's probably one of those receivers in that range that's more attainable? Like the leagues where you want to consolidate up to the high end receivers, but it's impossible to do that in shallow leagues because why would anyone trade away Justin Jefferson in a start 8, start 9? Are those the kind of leagues where you'd be more willing to kind of make the bet on someone who has a chance to get close-ish to that range and might be a little bit cheaper?
Well, I will say I do have some Marv. So like, yes, I'm not saying sell Marv at all costs, but I do think he's a good piece to sell. But yeah, I mean, I think the two situations where I'd really look at Marv is obviously a shallow league and all the top guys are just untouchable. And it's like, okay, who can I get that I can place my bets on? But I also think if you're on a team that has either older guys or kind of known guys, if I can take a known guy, say like a Waddle plus something, and get a Marv, it's like, cool, now I have a shot at someone that could become one of those elite dynasty guys. The reason why I was like Marv would be a great player to move on Sean's roster was because I was like, you have a lot of those guys. You have a Lad, you have a Waddle, who some people still believe in, a T, a Marv. You have a lot of guys that are those high value wide receiver twos. And to me, I was like, okay, this is a good opportunity to say, I can probably consolidate a little bit here to get someone that's a guaranteed wide receiver one, at least has the insulation of one. But yeah, I'm not completely out on Marv. I still think Marv is someone that I'm hoping does well. I have a ton of Kyler, so I need him to do well. But
yeah. I have a lot of Kyler as well. And usually a lot of the players I tend to notice is that I do love my 1 year hot tanks. So a lot of my teams are kind of centered around kind of buying those. Unfortunately, one of those players was Deshaun Watson. Ruh-roh. He was a really seemed like a really appealing quarterback for a tanking team when he was going to be suspended for the entire season. But that's on me, and then maybe that's a morality thing that I need to deal with on my own. So my bad, guys. Like and subscribe if you guys haven't. Yes, thank you. And I think we just got a sub. I think that was at 1,000.
Oh yeah, we do have the sub counter. We got to see if it
you.
works. I don't know if it's working this.
I was about to say I think it is working, but I don't know. I didn't know if that was a tactic to try to get one more subscriber. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Somebody let us know if it's working. It doesn't track unsubscribes. It doesn't work the other way.
It doesn't work with unsubscribes.
No.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. It shuts the stream off if you unsubscribe. So yo, what's up, Jacob? I am getting that ready right now. So that is next up on the itinerary. So we'll get this up on this question. Don't worry, we will revisit this. It'll look pretty. So I'll let Jeremy answer this directed question. 16 shares of May.
Yeah, right at me.
But when I look at my portfolio on Dynasty Daddy, it only shows me having 77. Any idea why?
Oh, we got some live bug support here.
Live bug support.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way we can check this is if you can like DM me your username login stuff. I don't know if it's multiple platforms. It could be something of like if you have MFL or Sleeper or something like that. And I'll give you a little teaser. I'm starting to work on some changes to the portfolio tool that will take advantage of the Dynasty Daddy accounts that I've been working my ass off on. So we will have some changes, and it'll be a lot smoother and easier to pull up your portfolios and reference them across a bunch of different tools. But for this issue, it is probably either you have some sort of filtering on, or there's some bug going on with the integration. So if you could reach out to me about that, I can definitely take a look.
All right, perfect timing. And we are ready for this question. So here we go. This is, it's kind of funky. All right, it's
Which
okay.
one is it? My stream's always behind, so I got to.
All right, so we've got, all right, so this is the team here. So the question is, where would you look to move on a QB with this roster? What could I add to 106 or 103 to get the 101? So this is looking like a single quarterback league. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes.
It does look like a one.
But it is a deeper league.
It is, yeah. So is the question looking to move, like to trade a quarterback? Because I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but trading a 1 QB or trading a quarterback in a 1 QB league, you better hope it's like 32 teams or something, because like the markets are really depressed.
You definitely do want to try to get into like difference maker.
Is a shallow league, or not shallow, but I assume it's. Did he say how many teams it was? No. My hunch would be it would be limited team count, because you got Waddle, Pickens, Godwin, Reed on the bench, which that's like a lot of value at wide receiver to just be hanging out. Now maybe you just got a horde of all the wide receiver 2s and wide receiver 3s, but
I mean, this is an interesting team, because you could show me this running back room and I would tell you, why are you trying to move to the 101 if you have Bijan, Bucky, Ken Walker, Chase Brown? But I think with that wide receiver room, would you be willing to add on any of those guys to try to get to the 101 from the 103?
Yeah, I mean, I would be okay with, like, if I can. I would say here's me going on my Hampton spiel, but I mean, I would not be looking to add much to the 102 to go to the 101. In this format, quarterback's not even a question. No serious wide receivers. You have a ton, so you already know you're going to get Hampton. I'm not trying to add much to Hampton to get a GT. Now, if I could take the 103 and add like Pickens to it or something like that, or like just add a couple, like be like, hey, here's Hollywood, here's Pickens, like. You have a lot of value at the wide receiver position. And in this league, if you pull up WAR and do all that stuff, I can guarantee you, I'll bet my pinky that running back and wide receiver are the most valuable position in this league. I don't know what all the format and the scoring is, but basically I'm like, can I get the best wide receiver or running back in every trade I can? Mm-hmm. So to me, I'm like, cool. Like if I can take Godwin plus the 103 and get the 101, and I'm walking away with GT. I have Robinson, I have Hampton, I have Bucky Irving, I have Kenneth Walker. I mean, there's only so much you can do to make that room better. And I think too, I mean, this is a perfect team where it's like, okay, do I need Jaden Reed? Can I get a future 27 first somehow? Like, to me, I'm like, hey, like I've made my bets. I have all these young, talented guys. By the time they're not young and talented, it's going to be 2027. It's going to be 2028.
Right.
Might as well start just planning for the future, because having Jaden Reed on your bench isn't going to do you much.
Yeah. I think you'd much rather have future firsts accumulating dusts on your bench than wide receivers that you don't see paths for huge value spikes. All right, there we go.
You're all right. Back in it.
We're back. It takes me a second to readjust, but don't worry, I'm back. How do you factor in landing spots in the draft? I think it's a very interesting question, because I think the biggest question for not letting pure draft capital dictate exactly where players should go in actual rookie drafts. So especially pure positional. So what is like the biggest difference for you when draft capital is similar-ish, right? So when you're talking about, late first receivers versus early second receivers in landing spots.
Versus 25.
Right. And I think a lot of times it is an interesting conversation because just because a player went 21st overall, that doesn't mean that they were the 21st best player on the board. It was that team had that player as their best player on their board. So it's very possible that the team that took the other receiver later had them as a better prospect for their team.
Yeah, and you never know too. I mean, there's always like the Raiders that pick like random players out, or like what was it? Bill Belichick taking who was that? Who was that?
You could do a lot of Bill Belichick. You could have done N'Keal Harry. You could have done.
That's true. Well, N'Keal Harry was kind of like the wide receiver one, I believe, pre-draft. I think that was the consensus.
Yeah, he definitely wasn't a terrible prospect or anything. Yeah,
but I mean, for landing spot, that's always a hard question to me because like part of me is like you can't go 100% landing spot based, but you also it does factor in, and I think the one thing that is consistent across everything is it affects market sentiment of that player. I think the most. It might not. You might have a player go to the Chiefs as a wide receiver.
The Chiefs buff, the Bills buff.
Where it's like the Bills buff. People will always just buff a certain player. So even if like Keon Coleman doesn't have great production, he's tied to Josh Allen. Like you can still get something out of him. Whereas like if you have Xavier Legette, which is like Legette and Keon Coleman kind of have the same vibe to me as just like their rookie seasons. But Coleman definitely has much more of a market just because he's tied to an offense that people believe in more. So to me, that's something where it's like, okay, to me, it's a tiebreaker, right? If I am convicted on, like, I'm like, this is my guy, right? Like, I was like Brian Thomas Jr. last year. I was like, he's better than all these other guys in this range. And, that worked out, but it's not like the Jags were a great spot. But then once I got past that, I was like, okay, Ladd, Xavier Worthy, like, like Legette, Coleman. I was like, who do I like? To me, I was like, I'm just going to go Xavier Worthy in this range, tied to Mahomes. And he had that super fast 40, so everyone was freaking out. So to me, it plays a factor on like knowing that the floor is not just going to fall out on a player if things go wrong. But it's not something where it's like, oh, he went to, the Chargers or something, and now like he's a guaranteed top 5 tight end or something.
All right, I've hit the point in the night where there are too many chats for me to follow up on good Jeremy responses, so we are keeping it rolling.
Good.
Different, more approved. If I'm responding at this point, your response was bad. No, Nathan here. Different, more casual league. 12 team start 10.
We can slow it down. We'll start talking about Travis Hunter some.
True. Or talking about our favorite Family Guy characters. That's what people want to see. I will say it. I'm not a Family Guy guy. I definitely don't think it's a terrible show by any means. But give me the Simpsons. Simpsons in 4.
Wow, that's sweep.
Yeah, sweep, clean sweep there. Different, more casual league. 12 team start 10. Traded the 101 and 26 third. Only 3 rounds for the rookie draft. For Ladd and a mid 26 first. Ooh, first on top of Ladd.
Me likey, I'll say that.
Yeah, me likey too.
You take one piece, chop it into 2, and both those pieces are going to be meaningful on your team.
Yeah, it's these kind of moves where it's the like absolute worst case scenario. I think it would be very surprising for what Ladd did in his rookie year for him to have a fall off outside of locked in every week starter wide receiver 2 at the very lowest, and you're getting a mid 26 first on top of that. So love that, even though I love that too.
I mean, I think too, like, it's incredible value on that because Ladd is someone too. It's like if he has like a meg year, he's still gonna have. Yeah, I mean, it's like Waddle. Like he'll be valued like a Waddle, where it's like he still has some sort of premium.
Mm-hmm. We'll go back to the. I think I need to get Marv on one of these thumbnails. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. thumbnail.
That was my best video until last week. Was the Marv thumbnail.
Do I have to be making fun of him? Does it have to be like Nepo Baby themed, like trash can emojis and everything? Is that how
I did say I did. My title was "Time to Panic," and then I had a meter at the bottom that said "bust."
Oh gosh, okay.
People clicked. People clicked.
Know. Good to know. Yeah, I'll check the analytics on those thumbnails. Would you trade the 106, 108, and 111 for Marv? So it's 3 firsts, but mid to late.
Yeah, midish. I would say this a little steep.
Yeah.
The hard part to me is like this draft class. Like in a generic draft class, I would say absolutely no. This draft class, once you do get to the 106, 108, like what do you get? Travis Hunter, Luther Burden,
Travis Hunter, you say,
and like Tyler Warren or something. I mean, if it's super shallow, like if it's a start 8, start 9, sure. But otherwise, like 3 picks for a guy that might be a wide receiver too.
Can I go down the line at the other high end receivers and see if I can get any of those guys first before I'm doing this?
Start at like Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., like Puka, Amon-Ra. Like
guys, knock on the Puka doors. That's all I'm gonna say. I think obviously Devontae Adams is not long for the Rams, but I feel like anytime those high end receivers become remotely attainable, I'm knocking on the door.
Here's the pro strat. So what you do is, if you ever are hanging out with the manager that owns Puka, is you take their phone and you go into their favorite social media and just search Puka Nacua injury over and over and over. So then next time they're doom scrolling, all it is about Puka Nacua's injury history, and then you get the discount on them.
Love it. All right, guy on the right, second favorite beer. You know what? Guy on the right, Will, by the way, nice to meet you. Probably a couple years ago, I would have come up with something and lied. But current Will, I'm proud of who I am. Not a big beer guy. If I'm going out drinking, I'm getting a nice sweet girly drink, and I'm having the time of my life. And you know what? That's who I am, and I will never change. So if you want to ask me my second favorite girly drink, I'll let you know.
We'll get you espresso martinis.
Oh, I do love a good old strawberry daiquiri. You ever go to the Tigers game? Probably not the Tigers game specifically. MLB game and get yourself a frozen drink. Oh, that's living right there. All right, are y'all going live anytime during the draft? We have not discussed this at all off stream. So I don't.
No, I don't. We haven't talked. I've thought about it, so maybe we will, and we'll definitely announce it. I will say our partners at DD Fantasy Football and on Ray G's channel will be doing basically nonstop draft streams. So I don't know. I may pop on there, but if there's anything going on with our channel, I'm sure we'll definitely have the next week's show, Tuesday, recap everything. But I don't know if we have anything really set up. Yeah. And if it is, maybe we'll do like a Sunday or something to kind of just decompress everything that's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And let us know if you guys, I mean, obviously the Tuesday at the very least would be kind of a recap live stream like you had mentioned, but yeah, let us know if you guys want kind of like a specific dedicated show where can still be Dynasty Trade focused, but where we're walking through like the draft itself. In those landing spots. But yeah, the DD guys, those guys go hard in the paint for the NFL draft. Highly recommend checking that out. Let's do it. Who says no? 1,169 subs. Oh, this was the wrong Becca message.
We got to run it up. We got to run it up.
This is what I meant to.
Which one?
This is the Becca message I meant to highlight. Oh, so good.
Which one is it? Which one?
Yes. You're gonna make me say it out loud. Yes, Will Slay that Cosmo. Yes. Miami Vice with half pina colada, half strawberry daiquiri. So good. All right, there we go. All right. Remember when I said there were so many chat messages that I need to start getting through them quicker? All right,
yeah, I'm not even reading questions this. For third favorite girly drink.
I can't even read the 24 shares of Olamide Zacchaeus message out loud. All right, real life Dynasty Trade.
Wait.
Jeremy, I have 24 shares of Olamide Zaccheaus. Don't have any issues with it. I just wanted you to know. Tristan, you should be telling people that. Olamide Zaccheaus is the last guy that I've done. I don't do this in Dynasty anymore because I've stopped picking up roster cloggers. But he was the last guy that I've done an add, then drop. Where I like picked him up and was like, I shouldn't have even picked up this guy. And I dropped him for somebody else. Like
need someone to like with a ruler be like, put down your sleeper waiver wire there.
I know, but for every Olamide Zaccheaus you pick up a Jahmyr Brown who probably is the same thing, but is in a landing spot that maybe does something.
I feel like Zaccheaus didn't do terrible last year.
No, not at all. Not at all. It just didn't make sense for me to roster him in that league. It was super shallow.
All I will say is I hope Tristan is playing in 24 best ball leagues.
There you go.
Then it works.
What's up, Justin? Would you do this trade? I'd be interested. So definitely would want to know the format for these kind of deals that you're like. Obviously, shallow league. I'm wanting to get that 202, but so this is the 202, 302, 402 for the 208, 209, 307. So you're moving up from the 208 to the 202. To move back from the 209 to the 302. Yeah, I think it'd be hard pressed for me to find a league where I wouldn't be willing to do that, because I think the 209 to the 302 is probably a similar range anyways, and the 202 kind of gives you a chance to get some of these interesting, potentially good landing spot running backs or even a wide receiver that falls in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I think like last year, Lad McConkey and stuff are going out like the 201, 202. Like you're still going to be able to grab someone that people will believe in, and trust me, like once people get on their clock and they're like, wait a minute, I could take Travis Hunter at the 105, like it starts pushing back the chalk picks, and you're gonna be able to pick someone that's decent in value at the 202. Whereas like if you had the 208, like you're like, well, like I hope Cam Scatterboo hits, like there's only so much you can do in that range. So yeah, I'd do that. And I think too, one thing I will add is oftentimes in rookie drafts, the big tier break is like mid second roundish, where you go from these guys have some sort of commitment from the team to have some sort of role to like, oh, like this is throwing the whole kitchen on the wall and hoping that the tomatoes stick. Yeah, like you just hope anything sticks at that point. So for me, you're like, okay, cool. I'm kind of securing I at least have one solid dart throw, and then the rest it's like, cool. I just take random running backs and see if their starter gets injured.
For sure. Appreciate you, Jacob. While I'm pulling up this next question, can you confirm nor deny if you hate Hollywood Brown? People want to know.
I will say Hollywood Brown hurts me a little bit because I don't know if there's a player that I buy into more and then like backfires than Hollywood Brown. The amount of times where I'm like, I remember when he was on the Cardinals and he was putting up like a quiet 14 points per game, and I was like, okay, this is pretty cheap for 14 points per game, and I get him and he gets injured, and then I'm like, well, crap. But then it's like, oh, now he's on the Chiefs, and then he gets injured, and I'm like, it's like it's an up and down nonstop. Like, I believe he's talented enough to not just be like a Zaccheaus or someone, but it's also just like, man, like, can the dude stay healthy? Can he just be like a 2 in an offense at this point? Because he's frustrating. He's kind of like a Jaden Reed, where it's like, come on, man. Like, I know his is more injury. Like, Jaden Reed is so frustrating because it's like, I see the talent. All he does, the only issue is his drop rate is a little high. But, Jaden Reed is someone that I'm also like, man, like his talent's there. It's just maybe, throw to him outside of the first drive. Like, give him the ball a little bit.
Yeah, the snaps, it's one of those concerning things that hasn't changed at all. And it's just, you don't really see a situation where it's changing, especially if they bring in somebody too. But yeah, Hollywood Brown is so tough too, because he even had that trajectory of the whole like starting with the Ravens, and where it's like, it's just the pass volume, and like wait till he gets a landing spot. Then he's going to the Cardinals now.
Well, yeah, on the Ravens he was incredible.
Yeah,
like
it was kind of like in those spurts, high upside games.
And he hovered around that like Jalen Waddle type value for a while, where it's like, like he's kind of like a pricey wide receiver too, but eventually, all good things have to come to an end.
All right, let's paint the scenario. What would have to happen in the NFL draft that would make Genty not the 101? I think it would have to be crappy, like Niners landing spot, like something wild, crappy, where the first year outlook is sketchy, where it's like Saints, Niners, and I don't even know if this is like would even change it.
Things have to happen,
I think it's like Hampton Bears or something, or like something like that.
Hampton would have to land in like the juiciest spot. It had to be like the Cowboys traded up from the 12 to 8 to pick Hampton, and then you're like, why did they do that? Like, what is going on? and then you have like, like Gene T like going to the Falcons and being with Bijan, and you're like, well, like crap. Or he goes perfect one. He goes to the freaking Lions, and you're like, okay, like now we have 3 running backs that are all very capable. Well, the volume's just not going to be there. Is that going to happen? No.
Yeah.
I mean, there's too many spots where GT would go in and just be the alpha straight up. There's, it had to be like a Barkley, a McCaffrey, like a Derrick Henry,
like a Breece Hall.
You almost got me here. You almost got me there. You don't know. Maybe we'll have the Breece.
Dude, I don't know. I will say I've been watching some of these mock drafts where people are not buying the Raiders taking Genty, and I just see the Jets at that spot, and I'm like, oh man, like. Would it surprise me if the Jets were like, we found our Monty Gibbs? Yeah, no.
It's going to be you, and then you're going to like go to your portfolio and just see the 24 shares of Breece Hall.
Breece Hall. Will has put a player on the trade block. No.
That would be so shocking.
No, come on. About to become subscriber 1146. Knock it back down. That's messed up, man. That's not right. Okay, I think we have another question in the
Zach Moss for 31st.
Where are we drafting the inevitable 3rd round Niners running back? This is so true. I know people have been asking. Somebody asked a question about Garendo, and I like looked at the Niners draft capital, and I was kind of like, yeah, well, it's possible. They didn't move off of Mason. Like, I do think they like Garendo, but then I was just like, the Niners just always draft running backs, and in bad classes, the Niners draft running backs. So, like, there's just no question.
I will say too. I think all of us here have a certain app downloaded called Sleeper that gave us a push notification today that apparently Christian McCaffrey's healthy. There's nothing to worry about. He's never going to get hurt again.
No limitations.
So, yeah, you're just drafting a backup running back. No, man, I think, a 3rd round Niners back, I'd be fine taking him at earliest, like, late 2nd. I think late 2nd, 3rd round. Like, if I'm, and 2, like, if it's a guy that people like, assuming that they take a 3rd round running back, you're probably looking at someone of decent value. And even if they go like crazy and get like a Judkins or something, I mean, I think if you have a Judkins, he'd probably jump up to like, like a RB. I don't know, probably RB4. I feel like Henderson will probably still be more exciting as a player just because he kind of killed it in the playoffs. But I don't know. There's so many landing spots, and like the Niners is a weird one too because it's like, okay, well, like everyone just assumes McCaffrey's kind of not going to be 100%, but you could also be taking like a Trey Benson or whatever, and then you're just sitting there being like, okay, when will James Conner move on? Like, when will Benson take over?
Don't worry, guys. John P is here. What's up, John? We've been waiting for you. You've missed a bunch. Get this. Will is not a beer guy. Also hates Family Guy. True. Just want to make sure John and anybody else who's joining the stream got that update before we went into this question. 12 team, start 9, 15 bench spots. What pick range should a future 3rd fetch in a startup draft? Oh man, the startup draft questions. 12 team, start 9. It's really, really shallow. So I think when you're, man, I gotta. Do I have to go to the Dynasty Daddy mock drafts? For startup draft?
Start 9.
Let's see.
What pick range should a future 3rd fetch? A future 3rd?
Just like a random, somebody's random third in a startup draft.
Oh, like a startup draft third.
Yes.
Not like 2026 third. Because I was about to say, I mean, like, good luck. You could maybe get like a 16th round pick there.
Right,
I mean, the third is, you're still getting a solid player there. But yeah, what pick range should a future third fetch in a startup draft?
All right, I'm creating a
visual here.
We'll see. I'm just trying to pull up the mock draft just so I can get a range of players that reasonably could be.
Yeah, I mean, I assume the question is around the third round of the startup draft, where currently, based on Keep Trade Cut, you're looking at Barkley, Marv, JSN, Ladd, Bo Nix, Jordan Love,
I
Brown.
read this. John, let me know if I'm misunderstanding this. I believe so. It is a 26th third or a 27th third for a startup draft pick. So he's acquiring just a future random third. Which pick, like, what pick would he have to trade away to get this third? Or get for trading away the third? He's trying to make some moves out here.
I may be lost right now.
So I'm John P. I'm in a startup draft.
I see that. I see John P's message. I only see what pick range would a future third fetch.
Yeah. All right. I'm John P. I'm in my startup draft. Startup draft's going, 8-hour timer. We're going through the startup draft, and I've got this future third, and I'm like, I want to trade the sucker away to get a pick in the startup draft. What pick do you guys think I could get?
Like a 2027.
I got him, guys. Don't worry. I got him. There we go.
That's what I initially thought. I mean, you're looking at like.
Bro, I was talking about Saquon Barkley and.
No, I thought you meant third round. I was like.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at like a 16th round pick.
Yeah, you're not getting in this. Yeah, I mean 12th if we're talking about, especially if rookies are included.
I don't really care about trading it to the 16th round, to be honest. I'd rather just wait till like week 6 and be like, oh, I can buy a backup running back in a decent spot.
I'd trade. I'd get a.
You want a Chig?
I'm trying to look. I could see myself. I mean, some of these rookies. I think if the startup draft's happening right now, I don't hate making a bet on some of these rookies, like whichever.
Or like a third for Etienne or something like that.
Because the way I see it is like it's like a little. And we'll keep. There's so many questions. All right. Well, don't worry. We'll get running through.
You could get Jack Beck. I saw some guy post on Reddit that he was his wide receiver too.
The next Puka Nacua. Which no, but
I think see Sean did post another trade in the Discord. We don't want to miss that.
Yes, yeah, I'll pull that one up next. We got the itinerary set up, so we've got next question, pulling it up, then we'll get there. But yeah, I think if the draft is happening right now, actually don't hate trading for. I mean, obviously reach for the stars, see what you can get. If you can get into the 13th, 14th. If you can get Saquon Barkley, I couldn't see getting into the 13th if you could make it happen. But if you can get like 14th through 16th or 17th for a third, I don't hate, especially if it's pre-NFL draft, calling your shot on a rookie. Because the way I see it, the rookie you draft in that startup draft before the NFL draft is probably a similar range to whatever you would get in an actual third round. And you have a chance to maybe landing, a mid-second value player because you got a running back at a good landing spot or receiver good landing spot that went in the second round or something.
I mean, you could also get weird with it too and be like, oh, like here's the 20th pick for in a third for the 13th pick.
Yeah.
In the or something like that. Like trade away even a less valuable pick with the third to kind of make the illusion that it's more valuable.
Mm-hmm. All right, what's up, Docs Freaks? If you're contending, would you trade Gibbs away? I have a few old starters and whatnot. So this is kind of interesting. I know how I handle the running back position, and I've been burned by not handling it the way I want to handle it and having Breece Hall in a lot of rosters. But I mean, obviously Gibbs is a great contending piece. I mean, where he's going in underdog drafts right now, where he's going to go in redraft. but would you be willing to trade him away if it could, fortify your contending roster while, even giving you more flexibility? I think that's what you would want to do with a move like this, is future flexibility on top of still contending. That's how you trade Gibbs away.
I think the question too, like the additional context, is that he has many draft picks this year, right? And I think that is a huge, like, to me, if I'm like, oh, my team is like, like the train is running out of track, I need to, I'd be like, sure, we can do like a strategic tear down of some kind. You got a lot of picks in the, it is next or this year. Don't know about future years, but honestly, I feel like if I'm a contender and I have Gibbs, it's hard to get a better, more secure running back than that. And I assume you're playing in the PPR league as well, and he has just such a high PPR floor tied to an amazing offense. To me, I mean, I'd probably hold, given that you're a contender. If you're a mid-team or a rebuilder or something like that, then I'd definitely be more open to saying, okay, I need to kind of get the value, because by the time Gibbs loses that shiny veneer, it'll probably be when those mid and rebuilding teams are contending. But this is the perfect time to have a Gibbs type player.
Yeah, it's so tough. Those like elite running backs, like, yeah, sure, like the production projection for some veteran running backs are could be similar to what Gibbs could give you, but man, he is just, and I mean, this is coming from a Lions fan, so I do want to preface that, but dude,
I mean,
he is different.
You need your studs. You need your studs to win, and he's one of them. And that's kind of one of those. There's very few centerpiece running backs that can build a team around, and you got like one of the three. So, to me, I'd just hold on to him. There's a lot of Hollywood Brown slander going on here.
I'm not gonna lie, especially seeing those like per target games when he did come back, and obviously it didn't extend into the playoffs fully, but I'm sure there was a part of you that was like, this could have been the whole season. But then you got the Rice and everything too, or just
I do agree with like what John P's saying. It's like Worthy and Rice. Like I don't think Hollywood
at some
Brown
point
is super serious there.
The Worthy probably got expedited a little bit with for sure with those injuries.
I have no idea. Both Worthy and Rice, I don't know what their legal standing is right now too. So there's that to factor in as well.
My daughter saw me watching this and said, ask them if they have chickens. I said, it's only fantasy related questions. I did used to have chickens, actually. My sister has them now. She's a little bit more of the chicken girl.
I have a dog named Chicken Nugget. So
wow, I didn't know that. Let's go. Good to know. Oh, are you trading Gibbs or Genty? Are you even wanting to do that pre-draft?
I'm more of like, I think Gibbs is just, it's a better spot though.
Better spot, and you've just seen the success in the NFL. Not that I have any doubts.
Yeah,
but it's like 95% versus 100%.
And I think too, like the thing I like about Gibbs over almost anyone at the running back position is he doesn't need like a ton of touches to put up a ton of fantasy points with like how the offense uses him. Not many running backs can do that. So it's like cool. Like he's not getting as much wear and tear, has no injury history to my knowledge. Maybe some early in college, but I mean, to me, it's like kind of like, hey, like which one do you want? Like it's a 1-for-1 player swap. They're both probably about the same in value. It's just, I would personally just take Gibbs because, like you said, we've seen the production.
All right, we've got the. Oh
my god.
All right. I will say,
I think chat has had some girly beverages tonight,
and I appreciate it. And you know what? It's been a nice relief because you see the number of chats, and you get a little bit worried about, I'm missing so many great Dynasty questions. These people are getting left out. I need to speed this up. And then I just see he could beat up Rodrigo Blankenship, no doubt. And I'm like, do I even need to find the context for what's happening right now to be able to do this? Don't worry. Just know I'm still reading all the messages. Also, Harris, did you change your profile picture?
It's
mid. But
it's definitely better to have an active chat. I always get nervous. I'm like, what if everyone's busy this week? I definitely would prefer talking about beating up Rodrigo Blake and shit than nothing.
All right, I do have the live stream ask question ready. So
okay, let's dive into it. This is some production value here.
Right here, yes, we've got the shout out Dynasty Daddy. I don't know if you guys have heard of the site, but so we've got that pulled up here. We've got the league. So the trade is the 203 for Ridley and a 26 third. So I'll pull up the team here. This is Kittle's crew here. So overall rank 1. Now the starter rank is, I think the QBs and the picks are definitely carrying this team rank for sure.
And Gibbs. You got Gibbs.
Oh yeah, for sure. But what do we think here? So deal feels like a little bit too much for Ridley, even though I do like Ridley as kind of a 1 to 2 year wide receiver cheap production bet. Mm-hmm. The 203 does feel a little steep, but you are getting the 26 third back. Deal feels like a little bit too much. Would prefer to add a legit wide receiver with maybe the 104, but not finding a lot of takers. Any ideas on getting creative to make the deal? I will say that I do think the 104, even though I think we as Dynasty degenerates have a great feel for how the rookie draft will shake out, but I think there is a different like stigma and feel once the NFL draft actually happens and people can put a name and a team to that 104. So I think it will carry more weight once the draft actually happens. So I wouldn't count yourself out of being able to make a 104 for an elite wide receiver deal right now. So I definitely would still kind of look to do that. But man, Gibbs and Genty. Whew. And we were talking about trading Gibbs for Genty. How about just having both on your team with a Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray QB?
The thing I would say here is this is a team where I'm fine taking like a Ted or something like that. Yeah, like because like what you have is Rice, and then you have like Garbo. Unless if like Daniel Jones comes in and all of a sudden is hyper targeting downs. Like you don't have players that I'm super confident in at the wide receiver position. So this is one where it's like, yeah, I'm not the biggest, whatever, like, I'm not the biggest Tet fan or whatever, but he slots into my lineup and I can just hope that he pans out. This is definitely one where you just need to kind of take picks or find ways to tier up and get actual locked in starters.
Look at all these picks though. I mean, I don't hate.
Yeah, you're loaded on this.
I mean, I do not hate using these to get Calvin Ridley type receivers to get yourself a competing team for next year for cheap. So obviously would love to turn the 104 or something into an elite wide receiver to be able to just kind of have that and lock it in for, the next handful of years as a competing team. But yeah, when you have the 201, 203, 205, 206, 207, 210, these are all appealing picks for teams with those Devontae Adams, Mike Evans that aren't competing. So can we do this?
Yeah, like move up a little bit on the tier, like a Devontae Adams or someone like that. Or
can we get like Devontae from this guy that has like, Chase, Puka, AJ Brown, Chris Godwin, Devontae Adams?
Which one?
So this team I pulled up here, Reckless, has Jamar Chase, Puka Nacua, AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, Chris Godwin. These are the best teams to target too, because this person looks at their QB, their wide receiver room, and they're like, yes, would love to have one of these guys as my last one, but they are locking in these three for sure for the next 3-4 seasons, so they're not even worried about that. So I think they'd even be more willing, especially when they only have the 410. This is the exact type of team you want to target to get these old guys.
I think I may push back here a little bit.
All right,
because I will say this team is a contender and they're definitely all in.
Yeah.
So it's going to be harder, in my opinion, to get like someone like an Adams. You might be able to get like a Thielen or a Keenan Allen or someone that's a little bit lesser, like of a known commodity.
You might have to pay the price for sure.
Yeah, I do think you could get like the advantage here is like it may work because they don't have any picks this year. And if you're
Yeah.
like, here's a 203 and a 209 or whatever for Adams, they'll be like, oh, sick. Like I can kind of bolster my RB room, which is clearly weak. That would be kind of like the hope that I would have to make a deal like this. And I would say too about like the Calvin Ridley type deal. Like I'd be like, if you're not moving like a 203, like if it was like a 207 or something, or like a little bit lower, like I'd be much more inclined to make a deal like that if that's the best deal you can get. But to me, like that early second range, like you can scoop up players, like there might be like crazy players that are still available depending on how your league draft goes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see the he has a double stack, but that's a good target. Yeah, that's true. He's got the Stafford, Puka, Devontae. I mean, would you? What are your Chris Godwin thoughts? I mean, I think he's probably. I know the value is a little bit different, but I think he's probably easier to acquire from a competing team that is kind of already set at wide receiver. And I'm more poor. Man, we're getting to the human element. You're telling me that rookie draft is starting. That guy opens up sleeper, draft has started. The 410 is my only pick. Oh, no. He's got to watch all these picks happen. Yeah, I don't. I guess the question.
No, I do think that can work in your favor, is him not having any picks at all.
Yeah. What do you want to send for Adams here? I mean, what's the earliest pick you'd be willing to give up for Devontae Adams with this team? It is so nice you have so many seconds.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the 201 and 205 or something like I probably want to have one early pick, but I mean, Adams has kind of like an elite price point at this point.
Yeah, that's
elite
true.
Old production. I think like a Tyreek Hill is also someone I think is a little bit depressed.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also on a contender.
Someone check on Tyreek Hill. He's a little bit depressed right now. He's going through some stuff.
Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. I got you. I got all your problems solved. Child's Play, Trust the Process, has Stephon Diggs and has Jacoby Myers. Those two players definitely do not fit their window at all. You should be able to like offer them straight up a second for Stephon Diggs and get Diggs. Like there's a lot that this team needs. Like I think they would probably be looking for picks.
Oh, your 104. Your 104 is nice. Because this Child's Play, I just love these teams that might have to take a Cam Ward. He just got Myers. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Caleb Williams, Daniel Jones.
Like if I'm trying to build out the bottom layer of that wide receiver room, Jacoby Myers is the guy I'm going for here, because he's also not like a bazillion years old. And then you could slot in like Rice, Tet, Jacoby Myers, and then you have Jahmyr Gibbs. And you pick up a bunch of those the early seconds should give you some decent flex options.
Mm-hmm.
Because it might be, it's always hard to be like, hey, contender, the guy that has been a consistent wide receiver one? Here's a second. That's always a tough conversation.
DJ Moore for Myers in a second. Okay. All right, he's kind of doing the tier downs thing. Yeah, I definitely would start. I mean, it is kind of tough too, and I know it is kind of easy for me to pull up this team that is pretty stacked at wide receiver and does have some of these older guys and talk about trading your seconds to a team but they're kind of telling you what they want to do with moving all these 25 picks. But I think they could easily look at their team.
Would you get crazy with it?
How crazy are we talking?
Would you move a quarterback and like be like, hey, I want like AJ Brown or something, like send like a much, because they're sitting here as the number one ranked team on Dynasty Daddy, with Stafford being like their guy, and they're like, okay, Stafford, Wilson, like how confident do I feel about that? Like if you walk in here and you're like Penix or something, you could also get crazy if you want to like move Hurts. You could probably get the combo about Chase if you're getting crazy with it.
All right,
because then you get the AJ Brown stack.
offered 104 in Penix for AJ Brown and a 26-second is a no go. He said he would need the 101 for AJ Brown plus a little piece. Oh.
Okay, I guess that. Never mind. We'll dreams crushed. We're back to Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, I would try. I would let me know how the checking in on Devontae. I would be fine with Chris Godwin as well. But yeah, I think the QB team. So obviously has the 102 here. This team could probably be looking at. I don't know how great they would feel about taking Cam Ward on this roster, just to have a second QB with a starting job that isn't potentially Daniel Jones in week 7. But I would definitely check in and see if, I don't know, are you even trying to get?
Damn, I honestly 104 in Penix for AJ Brown in a second is, I'm surprised he said no to that. I feel like.
Yeah, it just Penix just must not carry a lot of weight for him in that offer. Like you're probably just not getting the price that Penix is worth in that deal to that guy.
Yeah, you might have to trade like a Kyler or something.
Which is why I think. I mean, would you do a similar deal for? I mean, I don't know if this guy would do it, but Penix and something like that for London from Child's Play. And I know it. I mean, it'd probably be tough.
If the options are limited, yeah. I mean, if I can get somebody, because like realistically, you're not going to get like you have Rice, and I think Rice is a little bit depressed value wise. Like he was putting up really solid numbers, but you're going to need at least another Rice caliber player.
Mm-hmm. Did you check?
Make a run?
Yeah. Did you check with this guy on Penix at all? This Child's Play guy? Just because I think, like, obviously, any team that doesn't have a second QB is kind of who you want to target. But I think specifically this guy, obviously, you can pencil in Cam Ward at the 102 from this in this guy's mindset as far as I can take a QB there. But I think opening up the flexibility for this guy, it might kind of feel like, yeah, maybe I will move off, this guy if I'm getting a pick plus a quarterback. So I have more flexibility in the draft with that 102 spot. And like, yeah, I'm giving up London, but I can take 2 guys in the early part of the rookie draft. I think so. He took over the team as an orphan a couple months ago. Okay.
Okay, that's good news.
That is good news. Yeah, I would definitely check in.
The best part about when someone takes over a team is they always want to blow it up.
Yeah, it's a lot of moves that they are not tied to, and could definitely have different philosophies too. What the team's currently set up in, and obviously not a phenomenal. I mean, they got the 110, but yeah, I would definitely
110.
I would check in. I would check in with this team. If Penix and a high pick could get you London, I think that just with all the picks you have would do a lot more for your team. Than kind of.
I will say, I feel like it may be hard. If you're trading in Penix, you might be like, well, I would rather have the stack.
Yeah, I'm maybe I'm not as stack. I might not be as
like a Rome type guy though.
Yeah, I'd rather pay the price for London, but I'm not as much of a Rome believer. But if this guy's not a Rome believer either, I don't hate trying to buy that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mention anything about the stack to him. But
this is a fun question. Yeah, maybe he doesn't even know it's a stack, right? Is an orphan. Favorite potential landing spots for some of the top Dynasty rookies. I think so you want to just pick you want to pick a player and a spot, and maybe not even like the high end, but like some sort of like first round. Actually, I'm just gonna leave it open-ended question. However you want to take this, I'll let you go with it.
Oh, I feel like I would love if like the Texans picked a first-round wide receiver. I've seen that mocked a few places, and that's something like if they took like a Luther Burden or like a Ibuka or something like that. I feel like that player to me, I'd be like that would be one of those like landing spot players where I'm just like it's nice. You're next to Nico. There's not like a real tight end presence. It should just open up things for Shroud, and then you also have a pretty solid offense. That being said, do I think they're going to do that? Probably not, because they just like nuked their entire offensive line this season or this offseason. So I think they have other needs, but I would love to have Nico across from someone.
The boring ones are like
Cowboys running back.
Yeah, Cowboys running back, Bears running back, or something. How about the Colston Loveland Chargers? That's another boring one. I just think like a landing spot that you can get excited about with one of these tight ends. You see so many like Tyler Warren to the Colts that I think just one of these, just like give me a reason to want to take a tight end in these rookie drafts, because I just feel like I'm going to be fading both of those guys a lot with where I'm expecting them to go in rookie drafts. So why don't we give me one that'll either help my early seconds be better or give me a reason to take these guys in the leagues where tight ends matter.
What about like a Jackson Dart at I believe it's 21 to the Steelers? That's assuming Sanders is gone. But like, what if we get a surprise third QB?
Yeah. I think I don't know. I'm starting to buy in this Milroe buzz that there's a chance that we're getting like early second, and it's kind of scaring me. It's kind of like throwing all my expectations out the window. I really wasn't believing just as a QB prospect, but I will say if the NFL, it is kind of hard to compare to what we saw most recently from Richardson and everything, but for every Richardson there's a Jalen Hurts that win the second as well. So I could see Milroe just kind of being that toolsy, let's just get an athlete in the building and we'll work on the throwing. He's got the tools. We'll see.
I feel like I feel like a team though with like a Milroe, like Milroe is so tough because it happened right after Anthony Richardson, which, like, let's be clear, I don't think the ride is done.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, how many times were people like Justin Fields is over, like never roster him? To me, I feel like if I was a team though, I was like, okay, do I take a risk on like Milroe, or do I trade with the Colts for Anthony Richardson? Like, I feel like the price can't be. Like I feel like I'm like, hey, if I have an early second, I might as well just trade like a third for Anthony Richardson and use the second on a different player.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It is interesting. I heard that he's going to be at the draft, so we may have that drama. Might have another Will Levis situation where he sits there the whole time and everyone just keeps zooming in on him. But yeah, I mean, I do think there's going to be. I keep hearing like the Sanders is fading convo, but I'm sorry. People need quarterbacks. I still feel like we may get 3, especially if Milroe's there, and then you also have Dart in the mix, which like apparently a lot of people like Dart.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone's got to take a quarterback.
It's so hard to this like whole conjecture season with the NFL draft. Like there's just no reason for teams to give out where they're expecting to take players. Like there's no benefit for letting it be known that you're hoping that Sanders is available for the Steelers, or whatever team in the 20s. Like there's just, it doesn't benefit them at all. So it's hard for me to buy into a lot of that stuff. Like I do think there's some stuff with Shador about throwing guys open versus throwing 2 guys that are open, but I still think he has a lot of tools to be a first round quarterback. This is
I'm trying to navigate these comments, man.
I saw I think I'm doing a pretty good job of skipping over the ones that I would not.
Which one are you on?
Yeah. I've kind of done a lot of skipping the ones that made me laugh in my mind to get to the dynasty questions, but I will circle back. But I'm trying to hit the dynasty ones a little bit. Those are getting the slight favor. Any chance DeAndre Swift is still fantasy relevant this season? Bears fan here. I think so if he isn't the RB1. Yeah, I think I know the toughest sentiment is Ben Johnson already doing we've already had and maybe it wasn't fully Ben Johnson because there was more than just him involved in the decision making, but them drafting Gibbs and letting go of of Swift, but I think Swift is fine to be a part of a running back committee. But obviously, if it's a Genty or a Hampton in the first 20 picks for the Bears, that's not a death sentence, but it's certainly a death sentence for RB1, RB2 production for Swift.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think Swift has a role, just like Najee Harris has a role. Like, they're guys, but they're better than, you know, some of the names I see in the chat right now. So like they're definitely players that matter. And Swift is someone that still matters. I mean, he's still pretty efficient. He put up some solid weeks. And two, we see that with Ben Johnson. Like, he kind of likes to have those two guys that kind of play slightly different roles. So even if they bring in someone, it's not like, oh, this dude's rosterable. You know, like he still should be rostered. He's still someone that you could probably flex and get decent weeks out of.
I'm cycling through. I'm scrolling up in the chat. I'm missing real dynasty questions in these, but I
haven't been able to find any of this, like any of the trades that you've mentioned. I keep scrolling and I just see like Jake Bobo.
Oh, I'm so anti-kicker. Oh, yeah,
kickers are bad.
Kickers are the worst because I am in a shallow bench dynasty league with kickers, and I am having to decide, like, and I've just ended up having to cut kickers who I think have better projections, like, for the rest of the season, because it's like I'm not going to give up a roster spot in a dynasty league just to have a bye-week kicker on my bench. Like, I just will not do it. I refuse. So I've had to say goodbye to Justin Tucker and Tyler Bass, unfortunately. Thank you for your service, but I just can't do it.
Okay, here's one. Here's an actual how to get rid of Ertz as a rebuilder. Seems just enough not to drop.
Yes, but if he can. I mean, he's not going to destroy your max points for in a league where you're really trying to tank. But I'll tell you what, he's going to project better than a lot of tight ends you think he's going to project for. I think you just kind of he falls into that range of just get anything. So I mean, are you doing like 4th, 3rd swaps with Ertz?
Yeah, I mean, if it gets that desperate, I mean, I think for me, team. Like, to me, I feel like if I can hold him to like week 3 or so, and like, oh, like Brennan Strange is off to a slow start or something like that, then it's like, okay, time to ramp it up of like, give him a cheap discount. I mean, I've done deals with this with like Taysom Hill, not Tyreek Hill, like Taysom Hill, where it's like he'll put up those like tight end 1 week sometimes, and you're like, I can't drop him, but like there's no market for him. So like, I would honestly, like, if I need to get rid of him now, send a 3rd out to everyone, like any 3rd, see if that works, and if it doesn't, then, or if you get any sort of responses or anything, then you can be like, yeah, here's a Ertz in a 4th. But also, it could be a sign that, I mean, as a rebuilder, there's not much you can do, I guess. Like, I was like, maybe you try to roll out, but if you're rebuilding, you don't really care about points to begin with. So, yeah, I mean, I hope you get a 3rd. I hope you get a 4th. You know, like, but if you don't get anything, like, yeah, like you said, it's not going to ruin your points, max points for. You can just hold them and then just assume, like, as injuries and stuff happen, someone's going to need a tight end once bye weeks hit.
Appreciate you guys do every pickup in using Dynasty Daddy Mock Draft as a reference. Been getting Hunter everywhere. That's what I like to hear.
Ooh.
Hunter. I need to find a better phrase. Hunter Clan, rise up. Big Hunter guy. I'm in a. Do you co-manage any teams? I've just started co-managing teams, and it is more time for sure, because I can't just do things. Like, I have to kind of run it by and connect, but it is kind of fun because it's with like my shout out Alex, one of my best friends, who I already talk Dynasty with so much. So instead of us just yapping about Dynasty outside of like our individual moves and stuff, we're just doing it in this league. But I think I've got him on board that we're gonna take Hunter at the 105 in this league, where we need to hit an upside wide receiver.
Yeah, I co-managed a league with with Tristan, the guy that's blowing up our chat right now, and that lasted for a little bit, and then I mean he kind of ran it into the ground, to be honest.
Classic.
You know.
This Tristan, the FMK Bobo Vele Luis Resamit. Oopsies meant to say KTC.
Why that
hear
fell apart.
Oh man.
I will say, Harrison giving you some props. Sleek transition.
Hey, appreciate it.
Production value. That's the production value we got here.
Appreciate it. I think this is the same Lamar and Jaden Daniels deal that's been in the works for the past 3 weeks on the stream.
When it goes through, that's going to be the
Lamar
first.
and David Montgomery or Jaden Daniels and the 12 team Superflex. Now, I will say here's the thing, the Lions, they are a team that loves football players. Now, I know that sounds stupid, but I want you to hear what I'm saying. Don't hear what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
You're speaking my language.
Brad Holmes, he was talking and he was saying, everybody says, Lions, we need to take an edge. You could take an edge any pick in the draft, okay? You could take an edge in the second, the third, the fourth, the first, whatever. But he said, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he was like, we just want to get like the best football players in the building. And I love that. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, they did I think they did bring in Cam Scadaboo for a visit there. And man, you get Cam Scadaboo talking shop with Brad Holmes and that whole Lions coaching staff. I don't know. I'm not making an anti-David Montgomery pitch. I just want to talk about the Lions for a little bit. But yeah, I don't know.
You're excited for the Commanders again.
Lamar and David Montgomery.
I feel like it's getting fairer. I feel like it's like you're getting two starters. I mean, like, I will say I know the team that has Jaden Daniels is like in a pretty steep rebuild right now. So it makes it a little bit harder to lose the age premium. But that's definitely more close to par than just like a 1-for-1 type deal.
Yeah. Sorry, Connor. That's tough. Why are you playing Siege though? There's just way better games for you to play than Siege right now. Maybe this is a sign. Let's hit the books there. Let's find something better. Try rematch out. Well, you can't right now. I don't know if you're a sports gamer at all, but rematch is a soccer game. You've seen it all?
Rematch? I haven't heard of that one.
Check it out. It's like in like early playtest betas, but it is like 4v4, 5v5 soccer. It is very fun. Definitely check it out. Check. I think it's coming out in June.
I'll have to.
All right, let's see. Real Dynasty questions. What up, Matt D. Hoog. Pollard and Bigsby for Godwin. Pre-draft. Need wide receiver help. Have the 105 and the 201. So I think the pre-draft is just like, I'm making this deal before the NFL draft or the rookie draft or whatever. Pollard and Bigsby for Godwin.
10 team PPR.
I can see
10 team.
Yeah.
10 team. I imagine you're probably not starting like 13 or something. So yeah.
I think it's I think it's fair already, and I think Pollard has I think he has 10% chance to get nuked and 25% chance to get hurt in the draft. I don't know if those numbers are accurate.
Bigsby has a higher chance of getting nuked.
Oh, I'm not even really factoring Bigsby.
I think Bigsby has more value though.
I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this because I don't think this in a couple months from now, maybe this guy checks back the stream. I don't think he watches the Dynasty Daddy live streams. I'm in a league with some guys I don't know, and I want to leak my DM conversation with this guy real quick. All right, it's that bad.
I got a Hegseth here.
All right, here we go. I'm removing the names to protect those involved.
Yes,
but I'll keep my name in there. I see a trade go through, and it is Tank Bigsby. Oh, I need to find the actual trade. All right, I got it. Tank
I'm on the edge
Bigsby,
of the seat.
Tank Bigsby, and Tajay Spears for a 2026 first.
Hank Bigsby. What?
Thank you. Okay. So I just see it happen. I DM the guy instantly. And I just go, all I say, if you're still looking to trade for running backs, because please God send me firsts for running backs if you're willing to give up a first for Spears and Bigsby. I'm willing to sell Tony Pollard, Joe Mixon, or James Conner. Not much interested in those old dogs. Maybe Mixon is what he says.
Maybe Mixon.
And then I basically was like, I came clean. I was like, hey, I'm really just looking. Like, I saw you make that trade, and I was like, if you want running backs to have better projections for next season, like, I want to get in on trading for picks. Like, I love that. I love when people are open and honest with me in trades because, you know, I'll tell you what I want and what I'm looking to do. He says, I'm not too jazzed about the 29-year-old running backs. And I wanted to respond back and say, well, I don't know why you're too jazzed about Tank Bigsby and Tajay Spears. But I will nice.
say I had a deal in one of my leagues that went through that was similar. I was like, wait a minute, are you like in my league? It was Najee and Tank Bigsby for the 108.
Man.
And I was like, is that really the price for the 108? I mean, Najee on backup money and Tank Bigsby?
Dude, Tank Bigsby, I think, here's what I think it is. And I'm not trying to be, maybe I'm a hater, okay? And I'm not acting like I'm some dynasty genius or anything. But sometimes I'll look at trades that happen and I'm like, how? And then I open up the sleeper page and I'm like, wow, Tank Bigsby had some good fantasy production in some random weeks last season, especially at the end of last season. Like, there's some people who are like, he took over the Jags backfield. This team isn't adding anything. Let's go. Tank Bigsby. He's the future. And maybe I'm wrong.
People that see those spike weeks and they're like, oh, like, it's totally worth it. Like, let's go for it.
Yeah, but, and I think my favorite thing, release the names. Will. Get him, I like the Will in quotation marks every time my name is referenced. Yeah, and I could be wrong. I would love for this to be a fantasy receipts, is me making fun of this guy for trading Bigsby, or trading a first for Bigsby and Spears. But really, even if Bigsby hits, give me the first, right? Like, even if Bigsby is the best Bigsby can be for the Jags.
He's had 2 years, and like, he's been inconsistent. I mean, his rookie year was one of the worst rookie years any running backs ever had. So, you know, I'm not the most confident on him.
Yeah, Roshan's role, I'm not too excited. I think there's just some running backs too, and there's not a lot of teams that you are like 100% confident are going to take a running back high in the draft. The Bears just feel like a lock to, within the first 2 rounds, be adding a running back to the roster.
Yeah, I mean, if we're scared about Swift, like, good luck. Like,
yeah,
I mean, if you've been in the league for 2 years and haven't made an impact, and we're rolling into one of the deepest classes that there's ever been, like, you're out of luck, man.
Yeah, especially if you are banking in some capacity on like him having a goal line role or something, like Ben Johnson being willing to cycle between Gibbs and Monty on the goal line, I think is not a great sign. I think just not feeling great about that. You guys think Strange will be relevant now? Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens in the draft, but I definitely don't. When you say relevant, I think there's some like spike weeks we saw last season with Mac Jones. Would he have like an 11 target game or something? Like, I would not bank on that being in the range of outcomes for Strange, especially if the Jags add a receiver in this draft. But I think he'll definitely be on the field. We'll see. I don't know if they'll add a tight end in this draft. I definitely see that happening.
I don't feel super confident in him being like a low win tight end 1. Now, he could do that, but he's not someone I would bet on. Like, I would need to have, honestly, if you have like Strange and you're counting on him, go get a Nerds and be like, okay, like, I have a guy that probably will be cheap and still produce. And then if Strange is someone, that I have that as well. I will say John P mentions Swift was an RB for Ben Johnson. I forgot about that. So I guess the seat is a little bit hotter than just you know, He's got opportunity to do things.
Yeah, and I think it was more than Ben Johnson that hated. I don't want to say hated. It sounds kind of harsh, but did not have great feelings about Swift and were willing to move out from him. There was just a lot of examples of, and it's just kind of who Swift is, that he is just not a take what's given to you or kind of do what the play design is. He is very much a bounce outside runner. So offered Puka for the 101. I offered Puka for the 101 and was rejected. Dude has no wide receivers and had the 101 last year. Caleb, I don't think Puka for anything with the 101. Am I right? So I guess is the question just, you don't think do we think it's a bad offer, Puka for the 101?
I think Puka for anything but the one. Yeah, I mean, I think Puka's I think the tier of elite wide receivers is pretty wide. And Puka's someone that I could totally see Puka, especially if he's healthy a whole year, having a Jefferson type season. So I think it's a fair deal. They might not want to take it if they have no wide receivers and they look like they're probably rebuilding. I probably would take it, but I'm not running that team.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I wouldn't sell low on Puka.
Yeah, and I guess the one thing you could say with the 101 is, and I'm sure this probably isn't what the manager is thinking, but if I was the manager with the 101, I definitely would be banking on, let's get a nice, exciting, Genty landing spot, then let me shop this pick if I'm looking to move it, versus trading it for, because I think they probably could make a move for similar range, Nico Collins, etc., wide receivers if they wanted to at any point, for teams that are a little bit better set at wide receiver. So I could see that being their mindset. Okay, word on the street is the co-managed Jeremy Tristan team. It was actually you that ran the team into the ground. Do you care to elaborate?
If I recall correctly, it was Tristan running it into the ground. This is some revisionist history.
That's like having Scorsese and Tarantino direct a movie. Can't have two. I'm Scorsese. Okay, we've got the trade discussions happening.
Yeah,
actually,
we're going off the rails again.
They look more like trade demands than discussions at this point.
I know, all caps in here.
Trying to get Platt and Siege.
I sent you the Patty Mills message if we could do a quick rundown.
Oh yeah.
And I sent you his Dynasty Daddy roster. I think that's our last pending message.
All right, so this is. So I believe this one was. Is this a draft we're taking a look at, or just the team?
I think it was just like a 10,000 foot view of thoughts on this team.
Quick rundown of a league. Big boy league BBL. Okay, nice. Sleeper name. League mates would love it. Yeah. Let's so we can start with Patty here, and I'll show this here. All right, so this is a.
Dang, is this 16 team or 14? I was like
14 team.
Feels more than usual.
I want to see if there's any goofy scoring. Looks pretty standard.
Yeah. 2 flex, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. It is what is it? Oh no, 4-point passing touchdown.
Yeah. Ooh, JD5 Lamar. I love seeing a JD5 Lamar that isn't barren everywhere else. But obviously you're going to be hurting.
Or one that revolves around a David Montgomery trade that's being demanded in chat.
Right. Derrick Henry, Chuba, Amon-Ra, Rome, Rashee Rice, Michael Pittman, George Kittle, Travis Kelce, and Ertz. Would you be looking to? I mean, you can't really get out on Kelce on this at this point.
Yeah, you kind of hold. Is it tied to premium?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't see it.
So I mean, I still a pretty solid competing team, especially if you only have to start. Yeah, if you get to, I mean, you're probably fine flexing Kelce on this team as well.
If I was on this team, I would probably you don't hear me say this often. I probably cut back a little bit on some of these backup running or quarterbacks and roster more backup running backs just because I have a lot of value at Daniels and Jackson. So it's literally like I just need my bye weeks. Like otherwise, like there's no other scenario I would ever care about quarterbacks. Especially considering I only have 5 active rostered running backs.
Yeah,
I'd probably be looking to move that 111 to be honest, to just get like some sort of production. Like even if it's like I lose value, like can I get a Devontae Adams? Can I get a Tyreek Hill? Can I get something like that? Because if you add that to this team, then all of a sudden
one smash receiver
your flex is a smash, and then like Rome, Rice, if they pan out, then you got all your flexes. Because you could flex a Travis Kelce, but I'm a little concerned with that currently being it.
Yeah, I'm on board. Yeah, especially I mean, what's nice about this team is even with some of these older like Derrick Henry, Travis Kelce, George Kittle, like when this production ages out, like you have the like 3 premier tier down assets in 2 elite quarterbacks. And then you wouldn't want to, but I mean Amon-Ra as well. But it probably would end up being one of those quarterbacks, which is so nice to be able to tier down from one of those. But yeah, I still think you could put together a competing roster.
2 firsts or something crazy, and like,
and you still have your 26 and your 27.
Yeah, this team's set up for success. I would just be looking to get a little aggressive and be like, okay, like I kind of have my young guys in Rome and Rice and Amon-Ra. Like I can probably say, okay, do I want like a Luther Burden or do I just want like Tyreek Hill, and just know that I have a guy that I'm riding into the ground.
How much are you betting on yourself with this team? Would you be willing to move a 26 first and the 111 to try to get a like longer term wide receiver?
Probably not
than Devontae.
I don't like to move a
get that freaky
first until I'm like, yeah, like to me, your team is pretty solid. Like I don't think I need to push the chips in.
Yeah.
You know, like if there's an injury or something, it's like cool. Like now I have my first, I can trade that. But
yeah,
I don't feel too convinced. If I want to try to go up more, maybe like Rome plus the 111 gets me into some other tier. But I'm also fine just riding Rome out and picking up an Adams or something. I don't know where Adams is at. Adams is on a team rank 8th currently, so they also don't have a first. So that's a team that probably is looking for that. This is also a 14-team league as well. So
I know I feel bad it took a minute to get it up. So Patty, if you watch this back, I know there was a mention of the league enjoying us checking this out. So I'm gonna pull up the team. I want you to take a glance and just give me your quick rating.
Okay, quick.
You can even do like a 1-sentence quip about it. But I'm gonna do a quick glance here.
Okay, let me know because my stream is behind for the visuals.
I'll start first here. We got Nick Goff, no running backs. Sorry, Jonathan Brooks, Neighbors, Wilson, Olave, and Njoku. Okay, got some picks this year.
I'm glad he picked up Michael Gallup. That's what I have to say. That's going to fix it.
It is interesting that this team, like if you show me this roster, I would not have guessed that this team would have the number 1 overall rank, but it just has to be the total number of picks in a 14-team league that this team has, having the 108, 112, 114, and those both kind of constituting as late firsts, having a bunch of seconds, first, but yeah, having picks to deal with can make, you can buy running backs and everything. That was a little bit longer than I was going for, but Gibbs, fully healthy McCaffrey. Okay, on this team, got Brock Purdy,
and the
Baker
104,
Mayfield, and the 104. Got Jacoby Myers, Jalen Coker, Hollywood Brown, three staples of the Dynasty Daddy live stream conversations.
One of the 24 shares of Zacchaeus right there.
There you go. I didn't even make it down there. My eyes don't even go down that far when I'm doing roster checks on people's receivers.
I always like to see who's like at the bottom. Like what moldy? What's the mold on this roster?
Yeah, and you do have to kind of shift your perspective for a 14-teamer as well on these rosters. True. But having the 104, I mean, this is a solid team. The 104 as well. Nice. All right, this guy's just a penguin emoji. Kyler and Russell Wilson. Does have the 103 though. Ooh,
Loaded
CD.
at wide receiver.
Yeah, CD, Nico, JSN, Waddle.
JSN. That's a nice wide receiver room there.
Freeze. Okay. Burrow, May, Breece, Kenneth Walker, Chase Brown, Drake London, Jaden Reed, Tyreek Hill, TJ Hawkinson. No picks in 25 though, but solid competing team.
Yeah, solid competitor. They're probably not looking to move Hill. You're probably not going to be able to get Hill off them.
Caleb Telon, no running backs, but has the 102. BTJ, Marv, Isaiah Flowers, Christian Watson.
They crushed it last year. Williams, BTJ, Marv. I mean, they had the 101, 102.
That's nice. All right. Stroud, McCarthy, Penix.
Oh, we found the bottom team. We found the 101.
The 101.
They got Bucky though. They got Bucky.
Oh, this receiver room. This is
something.
They do have Bucky.
QJ.
There's a lot of stars by those running backs, and one of them's Nick Chubb.
Things are getting a little dicey there. They're probably a few years off.
It does have the 201 though, and three quarterbacks, so got some things to play with there. Then we went through the Patty Mills. Nice.
Gunesard is not doing himself.
I was about to say, not gonna say this team name. Jordan Love, Justin Fields. All right, BTJ, JT, T Higgins, Ron Jennings.
This is like a weird, like weirdly competitive. Like it's not a team that I'd ever think they're frisky.
I know.
It fits the name.
We would be talking about let's get a wide receiver in here that we can play that isn't. Please let Christian Kirk be relevant, or Wando Robinson be a PPR scam again,
or Tank Dell in 2027.
Yeah. All right, Mahomes.
Ooh, Drew Lock. Oh,
has the 105. This is like a
Sanders team.
This is a how far can I trade back and still get a starting quarterback team in the rookie draft, walking the tightrope. Especially with Tracy and ETN as the running backs. This guy honestly, is terrified watching the NFL draft. Absolutely terrified.
That is a rebuild that's like still manifesting.
All right, Kirk and Carr. Okay, this guy might not have quarterbacks next season. This might be your 101 next season, but it's hard with Jamar Chase, Puka, and Ladd.
Look at the rest of the team.
Joe Mixon,
David Montgomery, Brian Robinson.
That's brutal. Oh man!
Like you are literally like
with the Beetlejuice profile picture.
You need to trade anybody
that's
to
tough.
get a quarterback there.
Ooh, the Ole Miss wide receiver room with AJ Brown, DK. Got Hurts and Bryce Young.
AJ Brown, Hurts.
Achan. Tank Bigsby. Come on. Jags running back 1 for the next 5 seasons. Kyle Pitts, Juwan. 110. Okay. Fraud. Yeah, agreed.
They got things to do.
Josh Allen, Dak, like that. Kyron Cook. Terry Evans, Shakir, Cup. Okay, 107. This is a could sneak into the playoffs team. 14 teamer.
It's so hard in a 14 team. Like you look at this and you're like, okay, this team isn't terrible, but then you're like, oh, there's 13 other teams that like these teams and like Old Miss wide receiver room where it's like, okay, they have some pieces.
I think compared to the other teams, this feels like a decent contending team, which is kind of an interesting point because I wouldn't think that way about the team in most other leagues that we'll look at. Tua, Darnold, Saquon, Jacobs, good. Connor. Yeah. That wide receiver. Oof. I mean, it's kind of, when you have a team like this, you don't mind having your last. Oh, you don't even have to. Well, I guess you don't really.
You're probably going with Otten.
Oh, this is tough though with no 25 picks. Like, it's hard. You do have to kind of dip into the 26 bank if you.
Yeah, this is a team where you trade your 26 first to like a rebuilder and get like some sort of wide receiver for that flex.
Mm. Yeah, and then they counter with Brock Bowers for a crappy wide receiver and a first. All right, Herbert Richardson, Kamara Jones.
no first round pick this year.
Okay, I'm definitely moving off a tight end on this.
This is a team that tried to win last year, I think.
Ah,
They were
213.
213.
Yeah, second place.
I guess it's a team that was close and just now they got to pick up the pieces.
Mm-hmm. All right, we are. Yeah, I know that was. I will say that was a little more intense than I think we usually do. I felt bad that we took so long on getting to Patty's question for us to take a look at that. How do I submit my league to be reviewed? I'm gonna let you take that one.
Yes. So if you go on to dynastydaddy.com, usually right now I have a live stream banner, but usually there's a banner right at the top that says you want a personal roster review. You submit a form, and then it has payment options, just like Venmo or PayPal. And then it takes me like a week or so, and I get that back to you. But if you have any questions too about that, feel free to reach out to me. I can hook you up there. We could do some lightning round and knock out the last couple questions and then sign off.
Yeah. Seeing mocks of first and seconds for wide receivers and starters, how likely does one come in and actually tank Ladd's value? Yeah, I think the tanking Ladd's value thing is, I mean, they're just going to, I mean, they lost Palmer, added in Mike Williams. I don't know how likely it is that they end up taking a first receiver. I think maybe Loveland would be the like scariest impact receiving weapon that you could see. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I wouldn't be worrying about I need to get off of Tank or getting off of Ladd for just based off of, there's just like receivers that do what Ladd did in his rookie year. I don't get worried about other receivers coming in or other receiving weapons coming in and like destroying value.
No, yeah. I mean, I agree. I think, I don't think there's any wide receiver in this class that I'd be like, oh my gosh, this guy's falling on Ladd. I think Ladd had a great rookie year. And even if they get Tet or something crazy, I'm going to be like, okay, cool. Like it's a 1-2 combo. Mm-hmm. That team doesn't have a ton of passing targets anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of the more, analytical look at what Ladd did in his rookie season as far as separation and his win rate versus man makes you feel pretty good about him overall.
Yeah. Right. We got one about Rice. Rice has come up a few times. Am I correct in thinking his value is being depressed a lot due to the pending suspension? You concerned about that?
I don't know. Have you heard anything? I follow some fantasy lawyers that I really will like turn notifications on when there's like the Kamara situation a couple seasons ago and like the Rice stuff. But I haven't really heard anything on that. It feels like that would have been this season and the start of the season, but I don't know. I don't expect it to be anything longer than, I feel like the sentiment is like 4 to 6 games. Like it isn't going to be like a massive thing. And I don't know, man, when you put some of the suspensions we've gotten for a lot more violent outcomes of situations and those being like 4 to 6 games from the NFL, hard for me to believe that it's going to be longer than that. And from a dynasty perspective, especially coming off the injury, I'm not too concerned about it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, like he's suspended 4 games. Cool. Like it's 4 more games he can rest on his knee and be ready. So I completely agree with everything you said. Mm-hmm. To me, it's just cool. Like, it's just another extended window to buy him, and slot in what was someone that was valued around like Ladd McConkey and those types of players pre-injury. Mm-hmm. So, I think he's still a good buy until like we actually have clarity on the suspension. Because then, like once everyone knows what's happening, then everyone's like, okay, like I know what to expect.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's kind of an interesting situation too with kind of the sentiment of Rice, where I think it's probably comboed a little bit with like Xavier Worthy kind of coming along at the end of last season in the playoffs as well, where there's a little bit of fear of coming off the injury, like maybe it's Worthy's team, but I feel like people just kind of buy into that like the guy situation too much versus like the team, the offensive system, playing for the Chiefs and the role that he should have with Kelsey in his final year.
I was about to say, yeah. I was like Kelsey with him kind of regressing and just because of age, like it's going to happen eventually. There's going to be enough targets to at least feed both of them. And two, like Worthy's not even like a high target, type of weapon. He
wasn't doing the right stuff.
Yeah, he's not walking away from a game with like 14 targets. Cool. I think we covered them all. You got any last comments you want to make before the draft?
Before the draft.
Next time they all see us.
That's true.
Everything will be written in stone.
I don't let me influence, if you are set in your ways and you feel confident. I am just sharing what I will be doing. And in Will's rookie drafts, where he is around that mid-first range, I am feeling great about turning in the Travis Hunter ticket. And I think we will see him rise a little bit on like the sleeper ADPs and the site ADPs that we're seeing from rookie drafts. Now, if a report comes out and post-draft, it's like, yeah, we'll kind of ease him into the receivers. Like, okay, maybe I'll kind of tone it back a little bit. But I just feel like all the buzz that I've been hearing up until this point, since it's been Browns, from the GM, from all the press conferences, from everything, has felt so much like this is a weapon that they want to use as a receiver and that will play corner. And I think that's if it's what the Browns want, and we've been hearing it a lot about what Travis Hunter wants, that is what has made me lock in mid-first Hunter. So that's all I'll share. That's my closing remark.
I will say I cannot wait for the up and down of June and July when it's, he's playing most of the snap at cornerback, and you're gonna be like, I just burned all my first round picks on Travis Hunter. It's gonna be the ups and downs. And you'll get to see it here live. We'll break it down. It'll be a therapy session. Hey,
that pick 6 that turns into 6 points in my lineup week 4 is gonna hit like some,
You're gonna be trying to force through IDP changes just right. For a cornerback. If the Cowboys do trade up for Hampton, like Andrew says, I'll take the blame for that. That would blow my mind. But yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the draft. I mean, I think that's obviously for Dynasty, it's the best time. Like, it's the best time. Honestly, as a Panthers fan, it's the best time too. We don't get to win big games often. No one really loses. Maybe if you're the Falcons last year, you lost, but usually there's not a loser of the draft night. Everyone just is filled with hope, and it's going to be exciting. So I can't wait to have new talking points of what's going on. How do we address these drafts? Because everyone kind of has an idea of what it's going to look like now, but I mean, as we saw last year, things are going to change fast. So yeah. I'm super pumped for that.
I know it is so much fun. Your favorite mock draft is so wrong. That is like my favorite part of the NFL draft, and especially with no moves that have happened up until this point. I think it's even increases the range of the unexpected that we're gonna see. Mm-hmm. So looking forward.
I can't wait for it. And if you want to hear what we got to say about it, tune in. Definitely Tuesday night at 9 p.m. next week. And if we have any additional streams, we'll make sure to notify in the Discord that you can join as well. And if you made it this far, hey, thanks for that. Because I was laughing my ass off at some of those when chat became free-spirited.
Yeah, thank the Lord we can click the chat messages and they don't just auto populate as they come through.
It's not just
that helped a lot. That was a good call. We were setting that up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Everyone, good luck. I hope your favorite player, your favorite team drafts your favorite player, and your rookie drafts are successful. Best of luck. We'll see you Tuesday. All the draft excitement for sure. We'll see you Tuesday at the very latest. If not earlier, definitely like, subscribe, join the Discord in the description below. Watch Draft Day tomorrow, the night before the draft. The movie is terrible, but it's my yearly tradition. Highly recommend. It is such a terrible movie you have to watch. All right. Peace out. Thank you all for watching.
Peace.